going on, everybody? Welcome back. Another Wednesday night, as is tradition. Oh, my microphone is not prepared. I blame Andrew. He set this up for me while I was taking care of my sick kid. Oh, boy. All right, I got a lot of prep work to do. Everybody, how is it? How is everyone? I hope everyone's good. We got a lot to talk about tonight about jerkbaits. But before we can do that, I have to do the whole social media thing. So, un momento, por favor. Oh, God, what I click? We're good. Ah!
It's a nice faucet.
Oh, no.
It's really strange because I feel like when I'm watching you guys,
Broke it.
like I feel like we're on like FaceTime and you guys can see me.
Yeah.
But you can't.
Hey. Yep. Oh, okay. Well, look at technical difficulties and all.
What?
All right. I can't get the link. Whatever. It is what it is. Come on. You know, YouTube, that would be like real great. There you go. Jeez Louise. All right. For those that are here, again, thank you very much. I can't see the chat at the moment. Give me a second. I'll get to it. But for those that are here, if you haven't done it yet, please do us a favor. Never mind. And all right, I'm trying to post that we're live on all the social media, and guess what's not working? My social media. That's how she goes. All right, sorry, who we got here? We got Tom, Panda, Ben, Chris, TV18, Dave, Brian, Tammy. Who we got? Jack, Chris, 603. Wow, oh, Gordy, what's up, buddy?
Hi, Gordy.
John, Ben. I think I'm repeating names now. Ron,
Ben.
Ooh, backdrop. Yeah. If you didn't make it to the expo, you didn't get to see the new goods. All right, there we go. Multiple chats going. I'm sure this will not be remotely confusing, right?
Well, this one's more.
Well, they're both live, so the problem is we're using a different software tonight. We're using a thing called StreamYard. The benefit to that is I can highlight comments and put them up on the stream. Downside is if anybody donates, like on YouTube, we don't see it. So I have to have both live chats up. I'm sure my computer is totally happy with the things that are happening right now. No. That's why I got the CPU cooler on there, and she's fine. Anyway, yeah, Ben's got his notebook out. We have a lot to discuss. My notepad is over there with my notes. That's okay. I can remember. No, it's good. Okay. I can remember it. I am prepared.
You hit the record button. You're all right.
That's because
of you.
Oh, coffee down. I am running on about 4 hours of sleep. I had a very busy day today, but it was a good one. And now we're going to have an even busier night. We do have a lot to discuss. First and foremost, new banner. Pretty dope, right? Made that for the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo, for those that didn't make it. Also, new shirts are in. I have a few. We're going to have a ton more, including those hoodies very soon from Mint Printworks. I'm just waiting for the hoodies to actually arrive. So there's that. What else am I missing, Andrew? We have some other exciting things. Mike, of course you like jerkbaits.
Me too, Mike. Me too.
I feel like I've got two different chats going here. Why? Oh, right.
That one's more recent.
Yeah, because, yep, there we go. Because I can't see the bottom of it because I don't have the window size properly. Stupid TV.
Whoa.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is. Oh, my God. I clearly wasn't prepared as much as I thought I was. There we go. Good Lord. And there's the bottom. There it is. All right, Damien, hey. We got that. Okay, so first and foremost, it's been 5 minutes. Everybody's had a chance to get here. That we give that little cushion. So we're gonna get into it. We launched memberships on the channel for anybody that missed this. Pardon me while I adjust this so it's a little closer. What the memberships do is it provides an extra avenue for both you and us, for you guys to give more and for us to give more. That's pretty much the gist of it. So yeah. We have a bunch of different tiers available on the channel memberships. And depending upon what tier you're at, it's a monthly fee. It's month by month. You don't have to sign up for like 3 months or 6 months or a year or anything. You can just go as often as you like. And you get certain rewards at each tier. Like the lowest tier, you get free, custom emojis and things like that you can use inside the chat. And then you get loyalty badges as well. Higher tiers, we offer, I believe it's at $19.99 a month. There's an extra free stream every month for everybody that's at that tier. The higher you go up, the more rewards you get, like free shirts and or hat, your choice. And then we even offer like private one-on-one meetings and or calls. Like we actually have quite a bit there. So for those that are interested, that's something we just launched about a week and a half ago. You should just be able to see it right there, right underneath the video feed. Might not be there if you're looking on your phone, but if you're watching on your computer, should be a little button there that says join. If you go to the home page, it should be, again, right there in the middle, it says join. Anybody that's willing to do that would be greatly appreciative. Aside from that, again, for those that just showed up, if you haven't done so yet, please go ahead and drop a like. Everybody that's been sharing, thank you very much. It has, I should really post like all the like
Last
analytics.
week's was like double-digit shares.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
It was insane, and today was no exception. Although I think it was a little bit lighter on the shares today because this is the first time in a long time that I took the time to post like everywhere on Facebook myself, which I don't really do anymore. But I knew that this one was going to be a good one, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So it should be a good one. I can't even see how many people we got here, but I will get there eventually. What was the last thing I wanted to talk about? I think that was it. Channel memberships, like and share. Oh, we should post the analytics at some point because it has been insane, the growth the last 3 weeks.
Should.
And we owe a lot of that to you guys. So thank you very much. Greatly appreciate everything that you guys do for us. I think, no, I did not click the right thing. I'm trying to get that. No, that's not it. I'm trying to see, like, whatever. Oh, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anywho, what do we got? Ron, new merch, long sleeve summer fishing shirts, usually out of my size, popular size. Yeah, so Ron, we're going to do that as well. We have those like long sleeve UV hooded shirts that we wear from FXR. We're going to do our own version of that as well. That'll be soon. But coming up, I have a ton of hats. I'm going to get those up, as well as t-shirts and then the hoodies, decals, the whole 9 yards. And then we're going to have another round of shirts. Like, we have a ton. Before we do the fishing report, you should spend a minute to talk about the New Hampshire Fishing Expo and how it went last weekend.
Oh, it was fantastic.
That it was.
I mean, I was there. So you guys all know how I've been talking about getting a nice, expensive glide. And I was there for 5 minutes. In the building, maybe 5 minutes.
No. Sorry, in the building, maybe 5 minutes. But I don't know, when you walked in the door to when I saw you, I don't know what time elapsed before there, but he literally walked over, was like, hey, I'm here. I'll be right back. I got to do something. Like, instantly. I don't think he was standing there for 5 seconds, and he just disappeared. I'm like, okay. I don't know what's going on.
So I got a Depths 250 and rainbow trout like I wanted. That is all. I had to do it.
End of story.
End of story. But the expo itself was awesome. It was a blast. If you didn't go, you missed out. I think I must have spent, I don't even know, 5-6 hours flipping.
Yep.
Just constantly just trying to stay active.
I think I know for a fact I spent almost 5 straight hours talking to people. That was an extremely amazing and not humbling, but just like really positive experience. Like, the number of people that came out to see us, even on Friday, and Friday was slow. Everybody said Friday was slow, but it was still awesome. Like, I had one of the biggest crowds they ever said. They said that they've ever had for the seminar on Friday. I think I had 15 people that showed up on a nearly dead Friday just to come listen to me talk about ice out fishing tactics, which was incredible. And then, I was talking to people off and on, sold a couple things Friday. Saturday was insane. Like, doors opened at 10, from 10:05 till like 3 o'clock, nonstop. Just had people coming up, asking questions, buying hats, shirts. It was just phenomenal. I know John at Wicked Custom Rods had a phenomenal weekend as well. Pretty much everybody we talked to said it was a good weekend overall, which is really important because it was definitely a little slow, but not slow. They missed a year, on an expo that's still relatively new. So all things considered, it all went really well.
It did.
Yeah, when I showed up on Saturday afternoon, it was really quiet, and not quiet, but it wasn't as crowded as I was expecting. I think I was just used to Boxborough, but it was really cool because we got to be able to just walk around and just literally just talk to everyone, and you could hear it like yourself in the conversation, which you can't do at Boxborough half the time.
No.
You know?
Kind of get lost in it.
Yeah, and everything's so tight and condensed at Boxborough, whereas New Hampshire being inside the dome, like you can fit a ton of people in there, but there's also room to kind of stretch out and spread out a little bit. So it's nice from that perspective.
Yeah, next year's gonna be even better.
Next year's gonna be crazy.
Next year's gonna be sick.
We got to talk to Dan after the show, like at the end of the show Sunday, and we're like spitballing some ideas. It's like, yep, that's already in the works. Yep, that's already in the works. Hey, that's a really great idea. Let's do that. And next year's gonna be crazy.
Next year is going to be sick.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
What do we got? People are saying, yeah, Mark, kids love the expo. Good times. Good, man. Happy to hear it. And same with Ben. Ben, it was good to see you there as well. Will, expo was a great time. Good. Awesome. Glad that everybody had a great time at the expo. I did okay. I bought some jigs from Sematus. I needed some. What else did I need? I got, what's that bait Sanity Glide I bought? It's out there tied up.
Did you get the gill?
No.
The antidote.
The antidote, the $77 one, the bigger one? No, the antidote's a smaller, cheaper one.
Antidote's a smaller one. The Explorer Guide?
I think so.
I think it's the
It's like the same thing as this.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Bought that, was really happy with that. And then I got the Mega Bass I-Wing in all black. I wanted another top water
That was
bait.
that like Walker thing, right?
The Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Sorry.
New Blue Griffin.
Explorer. So yeah, see, you guys know. I don't know. Figure it out.
I don't even know what I bought.
It was big and new and shiny, and it was a rainbow trout. That's all I care about. All right, so weekend fishing report. Let's make this quick. We kind of caught some bigs, and that's exactly. Wait, hang on. Back it up 1 second. I got a text. I done messed up at the expo. Had all these hats out. Was packing up Sunday. Looking in one of the boxes. I'm like, that box is full. What the hell's in there? Open it.
Oh, yeah.
Box full of black hats with that logo. Totally forgot about them. Because the last 2 times I ordered, I couldn't get black hats. So when I picked everything up Friday, I was literally walking into the expo 10 minutes before it started Friday with shirts that were just printed 2 hours before that. And my hat order that was finished that morning. Like, talk about last fucking minute getting things done. So just completely spaced my mind. I just knew, remember what I had every time, and I just put that out and just went the whole weekend until I'm literally packing up. I'm like, it's in this box open. I'm like, oh my God.
There they are.
He's like, hey, take a look in this box. I'm like, what is that? He's like, he pulls one out. Son of a bitch.
So yeah, it was, it's all right. They're going to be up for sale on the website next week. I've got still a lot going on this week and through the weekend, so don't worry. I'm going to get everything up, and I should be able to at least have like an Instagram storefront ready, which will make things easier for people to buy, and I can keep track of orders. So that's where we're at. Anyway, fishing report.
It was good.
It was real good. It was slow, very, very slow, but it was good. Water temp was only 39 degrees. Place we'd never been to before, but I had known about for the last 2 years. And because it was a Monday, my wife works in the evening, I had to be back at a certain time. So we're like, I really don't want to waste a bunch of time fighting traffic coming back from the Cape, coming around Boston. So we were just like, all right, screw it. Let's look. And just over the Mass border, dude, like not that far down, we'll call it Lowell area, there's open water. Southeastern New Hampshire. I confirmed yesterday through satellite images. There's open water. Boys, girls, it is happening. Open water season is here.
It's time.
It is time.
So we went out. Yeah, again, water. It was like 38 and a half when we got there. It was like 39 most of the day. And then right as we were getting ready to leave, it was just starting to kiss 40. Jigs, as usual. And not for nothing, I did try the jerkbait. And that's why tonight is very important.
I did for a little bit too.
We couldn't get it done. But boy, oh boy, was that jig on it.
Yeah,
as
it
usual.
was. Mm-hmm, always.
As always. It felt good. So 5.34 for me on a jig. And then, like, literally 2 minutes later, casting the same exact area, you caught a 4.55.
Mm-hmm.
Same jig. And it wasn't black and blue.
Pulled it up, and he's like, did you catch my fish?
Dude, I quick glance, I was like, holy crap, I think it's the same fish.
It crossed my mind, too.
And it wasn't black and blue.
No, dude, we threw 5 different variations of black and blue jigs for 4.5 hours. Mm-hmm. And I finally looked at him, I was like, dude, forget this. I'm going to tie on a perch pattern. Literally the first cast I threw that, I caught that 5. black and blue generally works, right? I've said that 1,000 times. What
It
I've said
always
more
does.
often than not, though, color is key. When you throw 5 different variations
For 4
for
hours.
4 hours and it's not working of the same color, just different profiles, okay, time to change color. And it didn't make sense because you know where we fished, right? So that water is like stained, but not really. It's weird.
It's like,
Yeah. It's like tea.
yeah.
But it like I couldn't really see my bait coming up until like the last 2 feet up to the surface. So it kind of like initially I'm like, okay, yeah, this is really stained, so black and blue. And then as the sun really came up and
You can
started
actually
getting good
kinda
light
see
penetration,
into it, yeah.
well, I remember it was like right before I changed color, I pulled the bait up and I'm like, oof, that water's actually not that stained. And I was like, I'm gonna try perch pattern. Bombed it out first cast, stick that 5. I was like, okay, that was the right
So
call.
I switched and literally I think I had 2 casts in. And then I got that fish.
Yep. And then then you caught. I thought you caught 3 more at the end of the day. You only caught
more.
2.
Yeah, I caught 2 more.
So a total of 3. I already got the rough edit done in the video. We'll have that up on Friday. I'll probably be up till 3 o'clock tonight, getting everything done. So, all in all, I would say pretty successful for 39-degree water.
Mm-hmm.
New body of water we've never been to.
I would consider that successful. Yes.
Not bad. Bass and Panda asked, is that water stained most of the time? You know it better than I do. Is it stained most of the time?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. It can vary, but mostly, yeah.
All right. Oh, there you go, Panda. So, all right, that's enough. We've been talking for 18 minutes. It's time to talk about jerkbaits. So, let's do an introduction first because this is important because he's the guy with all the information. Everyone, welcome our friend David Roy to the stream.
Hi, David.
Hello.
He is part of the Merrimack Valley Bass Anglers group tournament. Well, I mean, it's not really a tournament trail, but it is. It's mostly just a bunch of really good guys that get together and, fish for, cheap money. Mostly for bragging rights, which Tiago and Barry had the majority of this year.
Mostly bragging rights. Yeah, it's a good time, though. So.
I love fishing those tournaments.
Oh, yeah, they're fun. I'm looking forward to them this year because I don't think we're doing Bass Nation anymore, so our schedule is wide open to do as we please
Okay, cool.
because we're going to travel a lot this year.
I know.
We originally were going to try Bass Nation, and then this whole thing with canned wood came up, and other people were like, yeah, no, forget Bass Nation. I just want to travel and have fun. But anyways, I'm done rambling. David, go ahead. Introduce yourself, buddy. Tell us about who you are, your experience as an angler, the whole 9 yards.
So, yeah, I'm David. I love fishing. I love jerkbaits. I love swim baits. I love frogs. I love everything bass fishing. I'm basically obsessed with it. So you guys probably see me most of the weeks here in the chat as NE Bass Addict. That is my Instagram tag as well. And like Sean said, I'm also a part of Merrimack Valley Bass Anglers. So they've been around for a while. It's been, probably at least 10 years that they've been around. And I found the group online on Facebook probably, 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago at this point, and jumped in to a couple of the derbies with them. Got to know the guys very well. Barry and Tiago invited me over to have a chat about the tournaments that they do and everything, and somehow I ended up becoming an admin on the page, and now I help them with all the tournaments. So, we do a small trail each year. It's about roughly a dozen tournaments, anywhere from 6, 7 boats up to 10, 12 boats. Nothing major. Really just fun. We show up, pay some cash at the beginning of the day, and if you get lucky, you get to cash out at the end of the day. And we do southern New Hampshire. Sometimes we go a little more up north in New Hampshire. We do tournaments around the kind of like northern Mass area. So, definitely check out the page and feel free to stop in one of the derbs because they're always fun.
They're a blast.
Yeah.
They're always wicked fun.
You learn a lot doing those small tournaments too. It really kind of changes your mental aspect of fishing in terms of, am I just going out to fish and catch fish, or am I just going out and looking for, a few good bites? So, and that really kind of changes the way that you fish on the water, and it kind of changes how you fish after or like when you're not fishing in the tournament as well too. There's more thought process in it. You're more dialed in on trying to learn a technique or learn a pattern or anything like that. And, over the last few years, that's kind of what really got me into dialing in on certain techniques like jerkbaits, jerkbaits and jig fishing and things like that. So there's really a lot more than just showing up and having a good time at the tournament. You can learn a lot from a lot of the guys there too.
That's the thing I like about you guys. His mic's on yours. Yeah. Okay. So we just got.
I'm not close enough.
That's the thing I like about fishing you guys. Like most other tournaments, especially the bigger ones, you get a bunch of guys that like take that shit seriously and trying to learn stuff from them. It generally doesn't really happen. But these guys, like, everybody's so damn friendly and helpful, and like everybody shoots the shit after the tournament. Like, boats are pulling in, everyone's like, "How'd you do?" "Terrible." "What about everybody else?" Like, "Oh, we fucking hammered them," and nobody's sandbagging. Of course I'm loud. I'm always loud. Hang on, squeak. I'm always loud. So yeah, if you guys are interested, you're looking for a local tournament trail. It's mostly central northern Mass and southern New Hampshire. Well, we'll call it central Mass to Lakes region.
The Merrimack Valley region.
Yeah, but you guys go beyond that.
Yeah.
You're not in your jurisdiction, boy.
You ain't from around here, is you?
My watch is talking.
Actually, Panda, Sean is also loud AF. Yeah. So, funny thing is, when we were doing the seminars at the expo, they were like, "Yeah, we only have one mic," and I forgot to bring an extra one I had with the cable. And Andrew and he's like, "How are we gonna do this?" I'm like, "Well, this is easy. You mumble and I yell. So you wear the mic and I'll just talk." Nobody had a problem hearing me.
I do have to interject. Looks like my wife joined in, and my daughter, Sanaya, would like to say hi to everyone. And
Hello.
good night.
Hi.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Hello and goodbye.
Love you. Good night.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you for giving us a little background as to who you are, where you're from, what you do, especially on the tournament scene. So let's talk jerkbaits. Let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about really what everybody should know what a jerkbait is, but what are all the different types of jerkbaits out there? The one that pretty much everybody fishes, and then the few other variations available there. I just punched the mic. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll assume most of you watching now probably know what a jerkbait is, but for those that don't, it's a minnow-shaped hard bait. It's got a lip on it. Not designed to crank though. They're designed to suspend, and there are variations of them. They come in different sizes, but there's ones that float, there's ones that suspend, there's ones that will sink. Probably be easier. Just show some different examples of the different sizes. So where's the camera? Where am I holding this? So
That big boy up there.
on the larger size, you're getting into like your 5 or your 6 inch baits. These have a special place and a time for their use. But then you can go down all the way to the much smaller guys that are like this. Your 3 inch body. You can see here, this one has a much larger lip. The lips on them will kind of dictate the depth that they run at, which you can use at different times for them. So nonetheless, though, the jerkbait is really designed to be a hard bait that can be worked slowly or fast, and it triggers it triggers a reaction bite is what it is. So it's all reaction fishing, and as the angler, like you have to basically control the cadence of the bait. So you decide how many times you're going to snap that rod, how that bait's going to react, how long that bait's going to suspend and pause, and ultimately that's kind of what triggers the bass to bite is the erratic action that it has and the pauses that it has. So the floating models, that's going to be kind of your kind of 0 to 3 foot depth. If you're fishing over shallow grass, real shallow water, anything like that. The standard jerkbait is usually kind of in that 4 to 6 foot range in terms of depth. That's probably the most common jerkbait that's out there, and probably the most often used. And then the deeper jerkbaits, now you're getting down into 7, 8, 9 feet, and even some of them like the plus twos. Now you're getting into that 12 to 14 foot zone, or even deeper if you're on light enough lines. So, they can work in a wide range of the water column, and that's just another bonus that makes them so effective.
And they're amazing.
It's
so much fun to catch fish on jerkbaits.
Yeah.
You guys catch fish on jerkbaits?
Sometimes.
Once in a while.
What
I haven't
is
in a
that?
while. Actually, this one right here caught my biggest fish on a jerkbait. 6-pound largemouth.
Sorry, I was doing my social media stuff.
So I will add to
Oh,
I have a bit of a problem when it comes to jerkbaits. But
Yeah,
that's
this is just a small box.
That's okay. So this here, we'll try to hold this up so they can kind of see it maybe.
I need
Maybe.
that
So
rainbow.
this is a smaller box, and then we have another box behind me here. I've always yeah, might as well. So for those of you that know what the Vision 110 is, this is a box of Vision 110s. There's probably about, I don't know, 65 or 70 in here. So we'll wait till my wife puts my daughter to sleep before we talk about what's in that box. So really though, with jerkbaits, like I've always thrown a jerkbait. I mean, as long as I can remember, but I never really got into jerkbait fishing. Probably up until about maybe 2.5 to 3 years ago. I kid you not, I was fishing with Barry.
Yep.
And Barry started throwing a twitch stick, and he just started hammering them. And I mean hammering them. Like he was catching, every other cast. And so I'm like, all right, you know what? Screw this. So tie on a jerkbait and start fishing. And he was catching 5 to every one that I was catching. So I was like, what's going on? What am I doing? How do I do this? I'm doing something wrong. And that's the moment that I decided that I was going to learn how to fish a jerkbait. And with me, the way I am when it comes to fishing, I'm so overly obsessed and I have to be a perfectionist in everything I do. So I just started reading everything I could about jerkbaits, watching every video I could. I started tinkering around with different rods and reels and line and different things, and really kind of just over the last 2 years have really dialed in how to fish a jerkbait effectively. And I'm not a pro at it by any means. I mean, I'm not saying that I'll go out and catch like a 5-pounder every single time I go out, but the way that I fish a jerkbait now is completely different from how I used to fish a jerkbait, and I have a lot of confidence in it now. So
Yeah.
and it's a year-round bait for me. I mean, it's incredibly effective this time of year, especially ice out, pre-spawn. That's kind of the prime time that people say to take out a jerkbait. You can fish it all summer long. You can fish it in the fall. I will tell you, summertime, post-spawn, that's when you take out the bigger jerkbaits like this. So,
What size is that?
I don't
That's
know.
a Lucky Craft pointer?
Yeah, it's like a 128 or something like that.
And the
think-
typical size is 100 size, correct? Or 100, 110?
Yeah, 1 to 110. So like this one here would be this is a pointer 100.
Yep.
Here. And then obviously the Megabass Vision 110. That's kind of the staple for everyone.
Damn right.
That is the jerkbait that most people would say. I'm a big fan of the 110. I think they've just perfected the way that bait works, and that's why we have this.
Is your wife gone
So-
yet?
I don't know, and she's probably not going to comment, so we're just going to go for it. So for those of you, I'm sure many people ask, the 110, why is it so good? So we'll go with, I don't know, we'll go with this one. So I don't know if the camera's going to get this, but the details in this bait is what makes it so awesome. It's I don't know, the way Megabass crafted this, they just perfected it. So it's a very streamlined bait, very realistic profiles. They got so many different paint options. I mean, you go on any website that has the 110, there are literally hundreds of colors available for the 110. You can dial it into an exact bait fish that you're trying to mimic, or just anything if you're just trying to get flash out of it, if you're trying to get something very subtle out of it. But the way this bait works is there's a weight transfer system inside of it. So when you go to cast, that weight transfer is going to slide out to the back of the bait. So when you actually whip out the cast, you're going to get a very straight, streamlined cast, and you're going to be able to cast it very far. And the long casts are very important with a jerkbait. Then, as soon as you engage with the bait, that weight transfer system goes back to the front. I don't know if you guys can hear that going back and forth. So that weight transfer system goes back to the front. So then when you engage with the rod and you're snapping the rod, the bait will have a very erratic kind of like left, right, up, down. It never goes in the same direction like twice. So they just perfected it. And contrary to what most people believe, the regular 110 is not a true suspending bait. It is a very, 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 very slow floating bait. So they will float. They do have variations of baits that do suspend. I think it's the FX series. Those ones will have like a folding bill.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I probably have one or two in here.
Got one right here.
I meant to bring mine in. I do have some of that folding bill.
Right there. So with these ones, with the FX ones, the bill will actually fold up. And that's primarily for casting, just to make it more streamlined and aerodynamic when you actually cast. But these ones are designed to also be like a true suspending bait. So if you're down at, fish are 15 feet down, you can get this down kind of 7-8 feet right above them and just leave it there. And they will come up. So very, very effective bait and worth every penny.
God, that color combo is amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a mobile Demiki.
Right?
I don't even know what that's called.
I don't know.
It's like purple, green, yellow wonderfulness.
I had one like this, and
true.
it was the FX, and I broke it. Actually, it might be up on the wall over there. No, that's a different one. I had one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. I broke it and started taking on water, so I had to get rid of it. But I'm like 99% sure I had that one.
Yeah. And then, so Megabass makes a variety of obvious, we might as well just do a Megabass showcase at this point. So you have the standard 110, you have the FX, then you have the 110 Junior. The 110 Junior, same exact profile as the 110, just a slightly smaller body. So you can see for size comparison, it's roughly about half an inch shorter. So then there's the 110 Junior plus 1. So the 110 Junior will be your average like 4 to 6 feet. The plus 1, slightly larger bill. This one will get down in kind of that 7, 8, 9 foot range, which is a killer depth for that. They also make the regular 110 in the plus 1 as well. And then they have the plus 2. So your plus 2 is going to have the much larger bill. I mean, maybe you can hopefully see size comparisons of the bills. I don't know if you guys can actually see that or not.
I gotta bring them all up. I'm trying to grab. What the hell do I have here?
What do I have?
That's a regular 110.
That's a 110 Junior.
110
And
Junior.
I got 110, and then I want a 110
That's a plus 2.
plus 2. Is there? And this was a plus 1.
That's a plus 1.
Okay, here we
And
go.
then
Coming up,
there's,
camera.
then there's the 110 Magnum,
Oh my God.
which is a much larger bait. This one is, God, I don't even know, probably an inch longer than the standard 110, roughly. So this one's going to be your larger profile, kind of like that Lucky Craft Pointer 128. The newer version of the 110 Magnum is called the LBO, which has the linear bearing oscillator, I think is what they call it. So
That's what it was.
there you go. Lovely display there, Sean. Appreciate that.
I really don't want to drop these, nor do I want to hook myself.
Yeah.
Bring him in. So I know I'm kind of. Oh, there we go. I'm kind of blocking him, but and I'm not near the microphone, so sorry. But you can kind of see 110 Junior in the bottom working up to the regular 110 to the 110 plus 1 to the 110 plus 2. Subtle size differences, but clearly a difference in size between them. I really hope it didn't screw up.
You're good.
Yeah. So, but the the 110, it's not the only jerkbait I throw. Obviously, this other box that I had, you guys saw that I had a couple Lucky Crafts in there. I got the Jackal Re-Range. That's another bait that I really love.
Every time you cast that, it sounds like you're breaking something.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Snaps.
So there's this
me every
one.
time.
This one has the weight just like the 110 does, but it's held in with a magnet. So I don't know.
There it is.
Yeah.
So,
Dude.
if you could hear that, when you cast it behind you, it sounds like you just broke your rod.
It does.
I
Every
freaked out
time.
the first time.
Literally every time. Like I know he'll be throwing it for 10 fucking minutes. And here, crack, and
yeah. It's,
damn it, it's still not jerkbait.
it scared the shit out of me the first time I threw it.
But whatever Jackal did with that, however they made that to where it snaps so loud, it cast like incredibly far.
Feels like you're throwing a jig.
To a bit, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
While you're talking, I just want to show the difference between a regular 110 and the 110 Magnum without hopefully throwing off the focus too much. Focus! Whatever, you get the idea. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do better demonstrations.
So the re-range is a great bait. You know, the Lucky Craft Pointer 100s, literally probably one of my other favorite jerk baits. Smaller profile lengthwise, 2 hooks instead of 3, but it's a much fatter body on it. So baits like this one, the Jackal re-range, when you get the wider body, they're still going to have that erratic side-to-side action that a jerkbait has, but they're also going to give you a little more body roll, and they're going to pull a little more water. So you kind of need a little more of a stout rod than you would with like the 110 to work these baits the best way, but they are killer jerkbaits, especially in cold water. So.
Real quick, Sean Miller, thank you very much for the $75 donation, buddy. Greatly appreciate it. For anybody else that's, maybe interested in doing that, no pressure. Just no. Actually, I totally forgot to update the goal thing. I'll get that squared away, and I'll make sure this all gets counted towards that. But we did hit our goal last week. We got to the $500, so we actually have the drone. The drone is in hand. I was able to pick it up at the expo. Thank you very much again to my buddy there, Mike, for hooking us up with that. So we got that done. Anybody that's willing to donate, one of 3 different ways you can do it. Right there in the chat on YouTube, if you have that set up. Otherwise, down the video description below is a link to both our PayPal and Venmo. So literally anything you guys do, be greatly appreciated.
I just caught a couple of the comments I saw. The Lucky Craft Slender Pointer, we got one of them right there. This one's very much like the 110, kind of a long, skinny, slender body. Very effective jerkbait. I saw the X80 Trick Darter. We got those too. This one's a really, really cool, like kind of finesse jerkbait. So when you get those fish that are either, maybe not really pressured, but they're keying in on smaller bait, the Trick Darter is a good bait, as well as the 110 Junior. Also, kind of this time of year, the Flap Slap. This is so another megabass bait, but it's very interesting. Most of them that I've seen, which I don't know if you guys noticed the eyes.
Yeah.
So they kind of have like different eyes on them from the standard megabass baits instead of the standard looking down eyes. But everyone that I have has different eyes like that, which I don't know why, but it's cool. But it's more of like a crankbait profile. So this one you can actually kind of crank down a little bit, but you can still snap the rod and get some of that erratic action of it. I like to take these ones in when I'm fishing like areas with hard bottom, but it's shallow, and I'll literally dig them down into the bottom, and then I'll rip the rod and let that bill kind of smack against like the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like you're working a square bill and you just grinding it, but these ones are money for that time. So
I would love to get. I didn't even know they made these.
Yeah, and someone said Stacy 90. Those are there too. So I like jerkbaits. So
You don't say, says the man holding a moderate amount of money worth of 110s in his lap.
Yeah, something like that. So I mean, the megabass world is a little different too, because I don't know how many of you guys actually like get into like megabass in general, but there's an entire like whole different game or a whole different world when it comes to megabass baits, especially in the 110s, and they're like a highly collectible bait. And Megabass makes like a lot of different like limited edition color runs, like the Respect series, their SBC series, all the JDM colors. Like I literally have a wall in my basement of a bunch of jerkbaits hanging on the wall in boxes that are like limited, like one-time run colors, and I'm not even like that crazy. Like there's guys that have jerkbaits from 20, 25 years ago that are like piled up, and you see them, and their collections are absolutely insane. I'm kind of a new guy when it comes to this stuff with the 110s. So
Sean wants to know, what would you pay for a Megabass 110 in Sunset Teaser?
See, so I don't get into. I'll buy them if I can get them at retail. I've never paid more than retail for a 110. We'll put it at that. So everyone in here is either retail or less. I guess to an extent. I mean, so I have the bento box subscription with the hookup tackle. So it's like a subscription box for those of you that don't know. Ben over at the hookup in Arizona, he put together this like JDM box. Calls it the bento box. But every month in that box, there's a limited like color or limited edition 110 in a Pop Max. So I have like Pop Maxes like galore right now because of that box. But
I have one.
So the rest of the stuff that's in the box, it's debatable each month if it's actually worth the cost. I like it just because I like getting the new baits. I like trying out different baits. And they're all JDM baits that are in those boxes, which are really cool. But there's a lot of guys on the internet that beg to differ that, you're paying the $100 monthly cost for a 110, which I'm okay with accepting. So
Nice. So you've covered a ton of different types of jerkbaits and everything. There's a whole other host of like diving deeper into this I want to talk about as far as like gear, not just rods and line, but also reels, I guess, depending upon what you're doing. Modifications, like you've got a pack of hooks you were going to show off. But before we go down that far, so you've talked about a lot of different things. So we got Megabass and all of their difference. We get the 110s, the 110 Junior, the +1, the +2, the whole 9 yards. You've got your Lucky Craft pointers, your Jackal rerange. Oh my God! There's Smittic in there. There's a Rapala,
other stuff. I
Berkeley
got some
Cutter,
Smithwick Rogues at home. I got some Berkeley Stunners on order that are coming in because I wanted to try those.
Yep.
So,
Are those new ones?
my Instagram name is Bass Addict. NE Bass Addict. So I'm an addict and I'm a jerkbait addict, and that's yeah.
Yep.
So are we.
So seriously.
That's
Now-
why we're friends.
Now that we've covered like all these different brands and models and stuff, let's talk a little bit about, well, actually what I'm curious to know is the differences in actions between these two, in the sense of, from what I've seen, from what little bit of jerkbait fishing I'm doing, I know that I have to work a 110 a little bit differently, different action rod, different power rod, than if I were working a Lucky Craft pointer to get them to do the same violent action. And some of those models won't really give you a violent slashing action. They just kind of more dart than others. So kind of break down the major differences. I know you kind of already touched upon it again for two of them, but let's just recap the differences in actions and what you have to do to get the best out of each one for what they have to offer.
All right. So I'll start with the standard jerkbait, the 4 to 6 foot range, depth, the standard 110, and even all the other baits, the Smithwick Rogue, the 6 Cents Provoke, and all those other baits. That's kind of where most companies start with a standard jerkbait. Do you want me to go into like where we fish those? Is that where we're?
You can't. No.
kind of
Just cover the difference. Like I know.
Okay.
Like a 110. Like what makes a 110? You already said it, but I want to try and kind of keep this linear. Like talking about Megabass, and then talking about Lucky Craft, and then talking about Jackal. Like what is it that separates? Like what makes a 110 so special, and then what makes what's specifically special about the Lucky Crafts, and then what's specifically special about Jackal?
Got it. So the 110 has, in my opinion, and probably the majority of the internet and the world, it has the best side-to-side erratic action. It doesn't take much work with the rod. You can snap the rod really hard. You can just kind of slightly jerk the rod. You can go, bring the rod sideways. You can bring it downwards. But no matter what you do, the movement of the 110 is consistent. It will always have that crazy like quick dart, like side to side. When when you're moving the bait, first of all, when they kind of suspend or slowly float, they're gonna stay horizontal, which is big. And then as you're working the rod, it could go left, it could go right, it can go up, it can go down, but it always stays horizontal. And as you're working it back to the boat, it maintains that depth. If you're on really light line or a really long cast, you might get it down further, maybe in that 6 foot range. But you're able to keep it kind of consistent with working that depth that or the water column that you're looking for. So if you're targeting fish that are 10 feet deep and you work a 110 and it's at 6 feet down, it's going to stay 6 feet from the end of your cast to, 3/4 of the way back to the boat. So you're going to stay in the strike zone longer with the 110.
Okay.
When you're going to the different depths, I guess, with the 110s. So now if you go up to like the +2s, or actually we'll go to the +1. So the +1, same idea. It will kind of give you more of that horizontal suspend, but it will stay true and run in that kind of 6 to 9 foot depth. So now if you're targeting fish that are suspending 12 feet down, that's when I pick up the 110 +1. If you're going deeper, let's say your fish are at 15 feet or more, that's when you get the +2. But the +2 kind of has a unique kind of action in comparison to the 110 +1 and the regular 110. The way the bill is designed on the +2 is it will constantly look to dive downwards because it's trying to stay at that depth. And so when you're jerking the rod, if you're jerking it downwards, you're going to continue to kind of pull the bait like down towards the bottom or the zone you're trying to target. So with the 110, I learned that you need to be a lot softer with the way that you work the bait to be able to get it to kind of stay at that true depth that you're looking for.
Right.
If you're working it too hard, it's going to continue to kind of dive downward and just kind of do this hop kind of down. So,
That's what I have trouble with the deeper diving ones. It's like getting them down and staying down.
Yeah, and the rod makes a difference. And I was actually I was talking to actually Barry and Tiago a little bit about this last weekend when we were hanging out watching the Classic, and I think I talked to Barry about this like every other day. But I'm still trying to find the right rod for me for the +2s. I have a Megabass Automat. It's a topwater rod. It's a 7-1, really, really fast tip and soft tip, but it feels like a very kind of stout rod almost for like what it is, but it's only rated 1/4 to 3/4. It's a 4-power rod, just like the Megabass jerkbait rods are. And when you hook into a fish, the whole rod loads. It's a very parabolic bend on it. So I think that'll probably be a really good rod for the +2s, which I'm probably going to be trying as soon as I actually get out on the water. So
This weekend.
I was to say this weekend, next
This
weekend.
weekend.
hopefully by next week I'll be out in the water. So, and then the 110 Junior, that's really kind of just like I said, it's when the fish are keying in on smaller bait, anything in that, from the surface down to 5-6 feet, I'll throw the 110. And that one you do need a different rod. You're definitely going to want that on a spinning rod, which we'll get into that later. So, I guess the re-range. So the re-range, I put this in the same category as the Lucky Craft Pointer 100, where the times that I use these baits, it's really kind of when the fish are a little more aggressive, because you're able to work these baits more aggressively than you would a 110. So these baits are still going to be in kind of that 6-foot depth range. But when you're working the rod, you're ripping the rod. You're ripping it really hard because it's a larger bait, larger profile, bulkier body. So you need to rip hard to be able to get the bait to cut left and right. But the bulkier size, you're just going to get that reaction out of him and the bigger bites. So what's next?
So you covered 110. Well, the whole Megabass line, the Re-Range, the Lucky Craft. What was the other one that you had? I'm trying to think. Other brands that you were well versed in that maybe you don't have one on hand right now. I'm trying to think. The Smithwicks, or like any of the other kind of like lower end ones, I guess.
I mean,
even the Berkeley.
The Berkeley Cutter. You can speak to the Berkeley Cutter because you have a bunch of those.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them. And I mean, for like shallow, smaller ponds, I'll bring that out and work that over the grass. But other than that, I don't really throw them too much in the summer. I mean, I should, but I don't.
But what can you speak to what the action on the Berkeley Cutter is for the? Like, I mean,
it's really quick, so you got to be kind of gentle on the rod. I've noticed if I would honestly throw, it's about the 90, I think. They're about this size, maybe a little bit longer, but I would even throw those cutters on a spin setup.
Yep.
Just because it's so much lighter, but they do work really, really fast, and they're good for if the bass are really aggressive, they work really well for that. But other than that, the cold water, I'd have to go probably with the 110 too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
110 is my go-to for it because, to your point, especially the FX ones where they suspend, it's about the only jerkbait I've bought without fail. Does exactly what it's supposed to do out of the box.
Yep.
Especially, again, that FX series where it's supposed to suspend. The damn thing suspends. Yeah, a lot of my Lucky Craft pointers that I bought, because before I went to the Mega Bass, I tried a bunch of stuff. I tried every friggin' Rapala under the sun. I tried a bunch of Strike Kings. I tried some Berkeley, tried Smithwicks. I had a couple of Jackals. Jackal Squad Minnow is actually a really good one. They make a good smelt color and profile. But oh God. I got to the point where I was like, okay, well, I've got all this warmer water, like more aggressive action stuff down, but I really want something that I don't have to try and tune. I just want to throw the damn thing out there and know that it's going to suspend. And that's what led me down the path of Mega Bass. So for something really, really cold water, and you really want the damn thing to suspend, no fucking around with it. It's really hard to beat.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, they're not cheap. They're not expensive if you're also addicted to swim baits, they're, but you get what you pay for. You get a premium bait, you get a very awesome realistic bait, you get consistent swimming action, every single one out of the box. You get, some people might not believe it, but you get good hardware. I personally love the Katsuagi out barbs or whatever they call them on the 110s. A lot of people don't. If you're bending out hooks and breaking them, then that's a gear issue.
They're super sharp,
which we'll get into. They are super sticky.
Yep.
So
drink. It's been a while.
So I'll touch on that real quick. So for those of you that don't know, so the Megabass hooks, the barbs are actually
backwards
on the outside of the hook as opposed to the inside, and they are super sticky sharp. Hooks are probably the most important thing on the jerkbait for two reasons. One, they need to be super sticky because more often than not, especially in cold water, when a bass comes up behind the bait while it's suspending, and when the bass decides to strike, sometimes they're either going to do one of two things. They're going to open their mouth and they're just going to kind of lightly suck in.
Yeah, they mouth it almost.
And a lot of times they don't eat it. They don't eat the whole bait.
They just gotta kiss it.
Or if they're a little more aggressive, they're gonna slap at the bait.
Yeah.
So more often than not, when you get a jerkbait fish to the boat, you're almost always going to have the very back treble hook in the corner of the mouth with the bait wrapped around, and the other front hook kind of over by the gill plate.
Yep.
Yeah,
90% of the jerkbait fish that you catch are going to be like that. Sometimes they'll fully eat it, but that doesn't happen very often. So it's important to have super sticky sharp hooks. Megabass was genius in putting the barbs on the outside because as soon as it touches anything, that barb sticks. And if you got the right gear, you're going to get them in the boat. I'll go into this. So I brought this in just so everyone can also see. So this is the one hook that I will actually replace a 110 hook with if I replace the hooks.
I'll get up.
That's what I wanted to see. I was actually going to ask you that, even if you didn't share it on the stream.
So that one is the Aaron Martin's Nano Finesse something Gamakatsu. I don't know the exact name. Sean's got the box. He can read it. That hook right there. So it's a very, very light wire hook. Super, super sticky sharp. Like if you think the 110 hooks are sharp, take one of those out of the box.
Okay.
But they're also, they have like that nano coating on them as well too. But they're just a phenomenal hook, especially for a jerkbait. The big thing is if you're using them on 110s, is the size 5, which is what I have in that box there. They are just about the exact same weight as the size 6s that come on the 110s. So why that's important, like Sean was saying, I want a bait to suspend. I want it to do what it's supposed to do. If you go out and changing hooks and you're putting on bigger, bulkier treble hooks, that bait's going to start sinking. You know,
Learn that lesson the hard way.
so you can drastically change what the bait's going to do based on just the hardware that you're putting on it. I use owner size 2 split rings when I'm changing out hooks on jerkbaits, and yeah, it just for my 110s it doesn't affect the weight on them. Now, you could also put bigger hooks if you want the bait to sink. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know?
Right.
And that's what's great about kind of taking a bait like this and having some versatility with it. I've seen guys wrap some small strips of lead or lead tape on the hooks to get them to sink faster, get them to suspend or get down deeper. Or I've even seen situations where guys are taking out the middle hook to kind of have it float up a little faster. So, oh God, what Sean got? Yeah, there you go. So Sean's got what appears to be a broken treble hook.
Yep.
So,
But with that little piece of lead tape underneath it suspends perfect.
there you go. So
the broken treble was unintended.
the proof is in the pudding. So
Grass on it.
Yeah, I was just using this one actually, not the last time we went out, but the time before when we were down with just a little piece of lead tape. I forget what the hell brand that is, but they're little circles and stickers. I really hope you can see that from back there, but anyway, just a little bit on the belly. There's a number of different ways that you can go about customizing your jerkbaits to do what you need it to do. One question I did see that Panda had asked you while we're on the topic of hooks.
we should scroll back after and go through some of those because that chat's been blowing up.
Oh yeah,
I know.
Panda wants to know: have you ever used the Owner Zoe Wire STX 38s?
No, but I almost added them to my cart last week. I might just try them now that you asked. So.
Move this over. Back it up.
Screenshot.
Yeah, God, holy crap. There's a lot here. Wait, where the hell's the conversation at? Oh, my God. Oh, there we go. David Richardson. Haha, we can use this fancy feature now. Do you use the Megabass 110 silent ones at all?
Yes, I got a few of them there. So there's definitely a time and a place for the 110 silent. So kind of what we were talking about earlier with that weight that transfers back and forth in. The 110 silent has a fixed weight. So it doesn't have that kind of knock in it, but you can also, I don't know if you can hear that, slight rattle.
Very slight. Subtle.
The 110 silent doesn't have that rattle in it. So if you're on super, super pressured fish, really kind of lethargic fish that just won't eat the bait, but you see them they're there. The 110 silent can, sometimes get you a couple extra bites for sure. So.
Nice. I want to back it up a little bit. We kind of touched upon it lightly, but I want to address it directly. Ben Bradley did ask any cheaper recommendations. Having never thrown them, I want to make sure I can hold on to them before I go to the $20 Megabass ones. That's a typo. It should have been $25 Megabass ones, which I'm sure probably will soon be $27 or $28.
Definitely a good question because, like I said, they're not cheap. So
I swear to God, those are sleeper jerk baits. Nobody throws them in. They're so good.
Rapala, Rapala, however you want to say. I say Rapala. What do you guys say?
I say Rapala.
Rapala.
Yep.
What do you say?
Rapala.
I also.
Wow. All right. So Sean calls it Rapala, and I call it Rapala.
And Andrew calls it things we're not allowed to say, or else we get demonetized.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
So Rapala makes these ones. This is I think just a standard shad wrap. They have the ripstop is another popular bait that they have. Slash bait maybe. But highly effective bait. Really basic colors. Kind of traditional like Rapala colors that they come in. Rapala colors, Rapala, whatever. The Strike King KVD baits.
Those are good.
If you want a budget jerk bait, you can't go wrong with these.
Got that one in the deeper.
Yeah, and they make them in just kind of like the 110 versus the 110 plus 1. They make them with larger bills, so you can get ones that dive deeper. They make the larger profile, the shorter profile. They all got KVD's name on them, so I'm sure they work. But they're definitely really awesome baits for the price. KVD spent a lot of time with Strike King kind of developing that bait over the years, and he's probably one of the most well-known, best jerkbait fishermen ever. So that's definitely a great budget bait as well too. So
I use these cheaper baits in the summer.
Yep.
When it's hot out, because you can move them a lot better. Or
we had people asking
I
us.
save the
to do better at
110s
showing.
more for the colder water because they suspend so well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sit
and
still.
to your point earlier about like the Lucky Crafts being a much more like you work them hard to get them to really slash. I like that better when the water's warmer. I tend to do better with a violent like just crack, and then hold it. Ron, we both like swim baits, but who uses jerk baits more? Honestly, it's starting to get pretty even because I have made it a point to fish them more often lately. So we're getting closer between Andrew and I. This is a great question from Cam, and this actually we can probably roll into this as the next topic is talking about color selection. But Cam Yates asked, "My biggest problem is knowing what color to throw. There's so many options. Could you touch on when you throw a translucent versus chrome or the matte finish, and when you go natural versus bold colors?"
Yeah. So there's so many different color choices. Like I said, with the 110s, I think in the U.S. colors, there's like over 100 different colors. Megabass has a whole coding system for their colors. I'm not going to get into that because that's going to turn this into like a 6-hour stream. But to what you were asking in terms of like the types of colors, let me just see what the baits that I have here. So you're going to have, you guys probably won't be able to see this, but there's some baits when you kind of hold them up to the light, they're very transparent. They let a lot of light through. The colors are very faint. And these types of translucent colors are going to be killer in like your clear water and bright sunny days. Like super bright days, bluebird skies, if you have calm water. Translucent colors are going to be best because it's the most natural presentation. What's great about a jerkbait is it is a reaction bait, but it's a bait that the bass will find, especially in the colder water. You're working that bait slow enough to where the bass is going to see the bait first, and they're going to come up to the bait and then make a decision whether or not they're actually going to eat it. So the more natural that you can go, especially in clear water, that's going to be a big deal. Some colors, like, for that, a lot of companies make a similar type color. This is like a GP Pro Blue is what Megabass calls this one. But that Pro Blue, just a clear body, blue back.
It's my go-to for cold water, man. It works so
good. That's a great color. Another great Megabass color for the smallies, the cherry spawns. Same idea, very clear body, bright pink back with a little bit of kind of gold or copperish color in the head. Those clear translucent bodies, they're just very good for the clear water. It's a very natural color. Then you get into kind of your not so transparent bodies and ones that actually have a lot more flash. So you guys can probably see the light reflecting off of that. So these baits here usually going to have some sort of chrome base finish. or metallic finish on it. These are made to throw light and kind of like reflect that light. So cloudy days, low light conditions, you got a lot of chop on the water. You can use it in clear water. You could use it in you know, your stained water. Maybe the place you guys were at over the weekend, when you kind of got that slight tea colored water. These will do very well in. And really it's about, like I said, producing that flash so the bass can actually see the flash, and then they'll come over and find the bait. And then kind of your last ones, which will be kind of like your matte finishes. We'll go.
I almost threw the matte of this version when we were there. And then when I picked this up, I was like, you know what, this watercolor, I kind of feel a little bit better about this versus the matte, even though the sun was up.
That's what happens to them after a while. So
yeah, I have that one too. That one's sexy.
So your matte finishes.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I just want to see the.
So the matte finishes. This one is slightly transparent, but the paint on it is an actual matte finish. It's more of a solid type finish, and then you have one of these. Very solid color. Can't see through it. Shows no light through it. Very kind of opaque finish. So this is what I would throw in dirty water, basically. You have a foot or less of visibility. I'm going with a very solid, very bright color that just stands out. If you have a place that you're going to throw a fire craw chatterbait, throw a bright colored jerkbait. So
I don't have one that bright yet, but I do have some that are, I mean, the whole bottom half is orange. I mean, like parking cone orange.
Yeah, there's those, and there's like this one here, which is just obscenely. This one's just wild. It's kind of got everything going on it, but there's all sorts of wild colors. I mean, you can go, like I said, there's so many different color choices. You can literally spend half a day just trying to pick a color. But if you just follow those guidelines, clear baits, clear water, high sun, flashy on your cloudy days or your choppy water, low light conditions, and if you got dirty or stained water, throw like a matte or a solid color. And, you know, that's kind of a good general guideline to follow. So
I still have so much to learn about jerkbaits. Hey,
well, mind you, like I said, I really got into this like probably 2 or 3 years ago, like where I went like hardcore into jerkbaits, and I was just like, I need to figure this out, and the only way I could figure it out was getting all these baits and going on the water and trying it.
Yep.
And figuring out what works, what color. I mean, I can tell you right now, this box that has 60, 70 jerkbaits in it, I probably have 40 different colors in it, but 9 out of 10 times I know the first bait I'm going to grab.
Yep.
The first color. So, you know, you get your confidence colors after a while, and, you know, you can always match the hatch.
Yeah.
You know, there's that applies everywhere.
I have like,
you know,
probably, I don't even know, probably between 8 and 10 jerkbaits that I'll throw at any point. But I stick with those ones. I don't really go far from them.
right.
I'm getting better about getting more diverse in my color, but really more depth than anything. Especially when I jumped over to Megabass, I realized like, okay, I could literally get my confidence patterns in the regular 110, the junior, the +1, the +2, and like, okay, now I'm getting much more comfortable with this and confident. Now I can start hitting these, but you know, they're all like I have the majority of the yellow perch patterns from Megabass, but I've got them in the
Yellow
one
perch for everything.
I do. Well, I mean, there's a good reason for it.
Yeah.
It's primary forage here. Like pretty much anywhere you go in New England, you can bet that there's yellow perch in it. And largemouth or smallmouth, they're eating them. So you get more bang for your buck than, say, always trying to imitate bluegill.
Yep.
More often than not. That's why I like yellow perch. You find them freaking everywhere. And again, dirty water, clear water, super shallow, deep, smallmouth, largemouth, it does not matter. Everything is eating those damn yellow perch, and they're freaking everywhere. So it's a great pattern to want to replicate around here, and having just a whole variety of just slight different variations on colors, depth ranges, sizes, the whole 9 yards. Like you really can't go wrong. So that's I'm getting better at that, at expanding
Bait
it.
fish in every pond are different colors, so
Right.
Right.
Depending on
It's
their
good to have
diet,
a variety.
water clarity, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And so, I mean, still on color, another reason why I like the Megabass jerkbaits is that, when you're trying to decide, a translucent bait, a flashy bait, whatever, if you have a confidence color, Megabass probably makes a similar color in all of the different color styles or variations. So like these are not all the exact same, but this one is like a matte shad color. It's kind of got that golden brown back, and it kind of puts some golden hues into the body, but it's a transparent bait. And then you can go up to this one here. I forget what color this is called. But this one here, it's got the same colors. It's just got more yellow in it, so it's slightly less transparent, and starts to get into the flash. And then you can go into the solid gold, which is going to give you full flash and a non-see-through body. So you can kind of stick to, a color that you're confident in, and then you can get it in all of the variations of that color. So
I always like to have a gold on hand.
yeah, a lot of perch, a lot of. Let's see what we got. Tennessee shad. So I like perch. Perch is one of my favorites too. So
I'm just, what?
Oh, are you all right?
I'm getting there.
Okay, good.
My brain's everywhere, man. Between this and then just everything I had going on this week and the expo and everything I got going on next week, it's starting to catch up.
Sean's gonna rewatch the stream tomorrow and call me and be like, "So can you explain this to me again?"
What happened?
You actually came over last night? I thought I dreamed it. I thought that was supposed to be tonight.
Where
That's
did all these
more-
jerkbaits come from?
Where I've been at lately. Hey, Coach Steve, what's up, buddy? Kind of rebranded, not really. We're just taking advantage of the name doing so well, especially with these shows. So I made that for the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. I made it. I bought it. Literally the day of I started the expo. I realized, hey, this needs to look a little bit better. And then I just looked online, literally 9:30 the morning of the expo, and I went on FedEx.com, and they're like, we can make one for you at a store 15 minutes away and have it ready like today. I was like, okay, let's
Sold.
do it. No, all right. Anyway, David, thank you. That was all very, very informative for everything. And we kind of touched upon a lot there, not just different colors, but we also talked about customization there with different hooks and the whole 9 yards. So I do want to cover gear, but let's change it up a little bit and talk a little bit about, and this is for both of you, because there's only so much I can elaborate on from a jerkbait perspective and experience. It's something that I'm still working very hard to get more confident with. I've had my days. I've had plenty of days where I've killed it, but I've had way more days where it's like, yeah, literally everything I know tells me this is supposed to work right now, and it just doesn't work. So I'm having a real love-hate relationship with this thing right now. So I'm just going to continue to steer the direction of conversation towards you guys to elaborate.
Jerkbaits are fun, right?
I love jerkbaits.
Hell yeah.
Screw you guys. Anyway.
Sean hates jerkbaits.
I don't know
I don't
why.
hate them. We have a love-hate relationship. It's complicated. What are your favorite ways to fish a jerkbait? Like, I mean, obviously there is a peak season for every technique, right? But go beyond the peak of when it's great. Like, and Andrew, we'll start with you to give you a chance to kind of talk a little bit more here. What are your favorite conditions and time of the year? And are you happy you're targeting smallmouth or largemouth? Like, break down your ideal, like, wet dream jerkbait day.
Honestly, I love it when the wind is absolutely ripping, like horrendous. Gonna get blown off the boat, ripping. Like 30, 40, 45 mile an hour winds. Like that day we had up on that
Brownies Factory? No.
That wasn't windy that day. We just got poured on that day.
No.
That storm came in at the end of the day.
Oh, I thought you were talking about New Hampshire Brownie Factory.
No.
Where we speared the wave on the way back in?
Nope, not that one.
Okay, that was a windy day.
The place we got trout fishing this year. Ice fishing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
That day.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my New Hampshire Brownie Factory is the other favorite day because that was insane. But this day it was freezing out.
That was Mother's Day last year.
It was cold.
And the only reason we were fishing is because it was miserably cold and it was blowing like a steady 35, like sustained.
Mm-hmm. And we came around this point And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw a jerkbait. Let's just do this. So we started throwing jerkbaits, and we were ripping him. Like, and the water was, I don't know.
It was still cold, dude. It was like
Almost,
low 40s, I think.
yeah.
Still, it was like I think it was like 43 or 44.
Yeah,
that
it was
day.
cold. And they were just on fire. We were just ripping them super hard, super fast, and it was just they were trucking it. These smallies were absolutely trucking these jerkbaits. And after that, I didn't really want to fish a jerkbait in any other weather. Just miserable, and it was amazing.
Yeah, wind is a must for me. I don't often throw a jerkbait when it's slick calm. I like ripple on the water. The amount of wind, I guess it could be, a slight 3 to 4 mile per hour breeze. It could be ripping 15 plus. But if there's no wind, I'm typically not picking up a jerkbait, unless it's now, this time of year.
Right.
Ice out.
Yeah. True.
When that water's in the 40s, that is prime jerkbait fishing, in my opinion. And some of the biggest fish that I've caught on jerkbaits, they're either very, very early in the spring or very, very late in the fall, like early winter. It's always cold water. Like if you don't have ice building up on the guides, it's not cold enough. So, that's probably my favorite time.
I also like that post spawn, like overcast, little ripple on the water.
Yes.
We've had some good days doing that in the New Hampshire Brownie Factory.
Yep.
Real good days
like,
doing that.
In like 7 to 12 feet.
I mean, like I said it earlier, there's no wrong time to throw a jerkbait. It's definitely an all year round bait. It's just that when you get to like those dog days of summer, most guys don't think to throw a jerkbait. But I will challenge all of you. Go find yourself a giant jerkbait like this pointer, a Megabass. You can't get the Magnum 110s now, but you can get the LBO Max is what they call them. Get yourself a large jerkbait. Go to a place where you're going to throw a square bill in the summertime and burn it, and start ripping that jerkbait. Rip it hard, rip it fast. Literally almost no pauses in between your rips. Just rip, all the way back to the boat. And they'll get bit.
Ooh, that's something I want to dive into, but I'm trying to kind of bounce around a little bit, trying to go like techniques and then gear and techniques and gear and bounce back and forth while trying to keep up with chat. Yeah. So one of the questions we had from Ron was, Sean did answer, but I would like to hear your 2 thoughts on this as well. Snap or no snap when using jerkbaits?
Like, if we're talking rod snap, absolutely.
No, like snaps, like clips. Like,
oh no, I don't. Just split ring on the bait and that's it. I mean, a lot of guys use them. You go out overseas to like Japan, which I guess fun fact. So, a Vision 110 in a U.S. color will come with a split ring on it. A Japan 110 or a JDM 110 will have no split ring on it. Reason being, in Japan, they all use snaps. I don't know. I don't remember where I read that fun fact, but that's apparently what it is. I don't like snaps, but you can certainly use them if you'd like.
Gotcha.
I've never used one.
I don't, because I mean, typically if I'm throwing it, I'm more often than not when I'm throwing it, I want them to suspend, so I don't do it with the snap because I know it's going to throw it off a little bit.
I actually have a new knot that I was shown down in Florida.
You told me about that,
and I'm pretty excited to use.
That'd be fun.
I don't remember what it's called.
You'll have to
I would
explain
tell
it to
you
him
guys,
after.
but
and then there was another question in regard. No, actually, no, we covered that. Joe did say something. Okay, we'll cover it, Joe. Do soft jerkbaits count? A lot of fun when smallies stop committing on top. Yamamoto D-Shad or Super Fluke work very well. Yep. I've had some good days doing that for smallies.
I love the Zoom Super Flukes. That'll be more of a kind of a summertime bait for me in a lot of cases. But what's really cool about the Super Fluke is, I think think it was Tactical that did a video few years back. They showed a different way that you can rig the bait and to kind of get it to move like nose up, nose down, whatever, like kind of weight, kind of fall like flat versus nose down. So it's a very unique bait. It works great in an occasion where you want something silent. So if you don't have like a silent 110 or you need something that's not rattling and clacking and making noise, a soft jerk bait can work great in those situations. If you're around a lot of vegetation, you're working with 3 treble hooks on this. And if you're in a bunch of grass, it's not going to work. So, there's definitely an occasion for a lot of places where a soft jerk bait fits in.
How many years now, Andrew, have I been doing that for largemouth post spawn? So just a weightless T-rig fluke up shallow.
I don't know. Forever.
Hopefully every year during post spawn.
Oh, dude, it's one of my favorite ways to catch them. When they're like definitively, like decidedly in that post spawn, and you can see them bombing around every once in a while. You hear them, and then you look over and you just see the parting of the reeds as they're going through. You're like, yeah, no, they're up there. No. You bomb that thing up there, like heavier line. Like I'll throw that on my jig rod because it's supple enough that I can throw like a D-shad up
you
there.
Gotta get them out of there.
Right, but that's straight 15-pound fluoro. But like I can sling a decent size fluke, and I'll throw it on a 4-aught, sometimes 3-aught or a 4-aught heavy gauge, like the super line, extra wide gap hook. That way, the weight of the hook is just enough to pull the bait down, so you can work it through fast, and it kind of glides and then slowly comes down, and they just. My God, does that work well? But then I'm using my jig rod with straight 15-pound fluoro. So when I hook them, they're coming out.
Yeah, swim baits kind of killed that for me because those scenarios is exactly when I would throw a soft jerk bait or a fluke, and now I just throw like a 6-inch bag draft in those areas.
Yeah, that's something I got to do more of.
So I can't resist.
There was one other question that I want to cover, and then we're gonna dip away from chat for a second. There was actually 2.
I had a couple questions about the pause.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to. Oh, here we go. From Derek. How long is that pause on a floating versus suspending? Don't answer yet because that's one of the topics I want to cover was the whole range of cadence for very specific times of the year. To the point, not just times of the year, but we're going to talk about water temperature ranges. So we're going to cover that next. Nate did ask, do you prefer shad style or perch? What's your personal favorite? I think you actually already answered this.
Depends on the water, really. I like perch. I like bluegill patterns. But the water is going to dictate that. I mean, we don't have, shad like up here like you do in everywhere down south and everything. But any bait fish type looking thing, flash, whatever, stripes or no stripes. If I'm in a lake where the primary forage is bass or perch or bluegill, I'm throwing perch or bluegill. If that's not the primary forage and maybe they're just eating, craws or just, little minnows or smelt or anything like that, I'm throwing something more simple or closer to a shad type pattern.
Yeah, something flashy or something,
what's that other fall fish, I think is
yep.
one.
Yeah, it's almost like this.
Yeah.
That's almost a fall fish color.
Yeah, it is.
Which is good because it gets on deep, too.
That's like a dead ringer for that smelt you caught up in Vermont last
half
fall.
the size.
But dude, he caught a monster smelt.
7.5-inch smelt.
Jesus.
Yeah, like I don't. It's probably a state record for New Hampshire.
Yeah, I don't even know how the hell I caught it.
It was huge. Dog Swampy, we did cover that, but we'll go over it again really quick because it's a good one to touch on. How do you feel about the super metallic and a chrome jerk baits? Good for dirty water, sunny days?
Dirty water, yes. Sunny days, like I said, I typically will throw the flashy baits on kind of like your overcast days. Dirty water is definitely really good for them. I think the majority of the waters up here, I want to say are generally pretty clear. Maybe some of our smaller ponds and they get dirtied up in the spring. Like we don't have a ton of like truly like stained water. Like
not like chocolate milk. No, not really. I mean, we kind of do. There are some places, but it's not.
Right.
the whole year. It's not.
But like if you go down
No.
south, and a lot of these guys are fishing in lakes and they got like 1 or 2 inches of visibility.
Right. That's
we
like
don't-
legit like coffee that they're fishing in.
we don't have a lot of places like that. I mean, I would say dirty water here is like a couple feet of visibility. You know, so some of those like this guy here, like those bright, obscene colors and stuff like that in that dirty water. Like I have this because there are times when we're there, and you know, early spring, all that the snow melting and all the runoff, it's gonna mix everything. Lake's gonna turn over. It's gonna get really dirty. Same thing happens late in the year during the turnover. There's a time and a place for those bright colors, the chrome colors, and everything else. But generally speaking, I'm going with kind of what's natural.
I like it.
You just want the fish to be able to see the thing, and not see it too much if it's in clear water.
Yes.
All right, so we're at 9:26. There's 2 very important topics that I do want us to cover before the end of the night, but I'm going to put it to the chat for you guys to decide what we tackle next. While I go back to the chat, we can answer another question
That's
or 2 in the
nice.
meantime. Dude, I
We have a whole box.
Champlain, jerkbaits, and swim baits. No, don't pull it down.
Okay.
That's for next year. For our that's leftovers. I have like dozens of those. What was it? It was the Lucky Craft. No, Lucky Strike. Friggin' Rick Cluns or whatever. They had them, and they were on sale in Tackle Warehouse for like $3 and change before we went on our trip last year. And
It's like
dude, I bought a lot, but we were up there because we knew we were going to
That
be in
box
pike
is
territory.
full.
It's literally just full of those clowns and 3 other colors, but I got like 8 of each one because Dennis is like, you're going to go through so many from pike. I was like, fuck it, they're $3 each. They're not going to go bad.
then I broke my arm and I couldn't go, so then he was stuck with a bunch of baits.
Yeah, but we're good for this spring when we go back in May. It's great.
yeah.
All right, so I'll put it to the chat. The 2 last topics that I really want to cover is cadence for different water temperature ranges. And we're not going to cover the whole year. We're going to cover now, like immediate ice out. We'll say up until, we'll say about 60 degrees, because that's really when the smallmouth spawn goes off, and then largemouth are typically right on the heels of that. So we'll cover it, because that covers us for the next like 2 months. Yeah, about 2 to 3 months now at this point. So cadence, and then gear, talking about rods, different actions, different material types, and then probably line a little bit too, but we'll cut, like, it'll be all inclusive. So which one do you want us to cover from there? And then secondary to that, is there any other specific topic from a broad standpoint that you want to make sure we cover tonight? I want to make sure we get everything. And then in the meantime, I'll look at a question or 2 here while I'm waiting for the chat to go off for you guys to tell us. What do we miss?
I'm curious how long your pause is when in cold water.
Hey, we're not there yet.
Oh, we're not.
We're waiting for the chat to tell us what we're talking about next, Andrew.
I got you.
Cadence.
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 Location. See,
Location.
Cam, that's okay, yeah, no, location actually be a good one. We can touch on that one last.
In the lake 15 feet down.
Slack line. Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's
Slackline goes with cadence, so we can sum that up together.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, because that's a big thing. I know for myself, that was a big thing that I did not understand. All right, we're talking about cadence, so here we go. One of the things I didn't understand for a long time was slackline, taut line, semi-slackline when it comes to jerking the jerkbait to get the appropriate action. And it took me a long time where I was always like reeling in until I felt tension and then cracking it, which someone finally explained, like, no, that's not the right way to do it. And I didn't understand until I was like, okay, well, what the hell are people talking about? Like, throw it out 10 feet in front of the boat and then do what I thought, do what I was doing this whole time. And like, holy shit, that doesn't go anywhere. I'm just like pulling the thing straight forward. It's not slashing like it's supposed to. And I know it's not going to be the case for 100% of all jerkbaits all the time, but for the most part, yeah, you don't want to do what I was doing. So with that said, let's talk about cadence. Let's start right now. Water temps, typically when everything hits ice out, we'll call it 38 degrees. We'll go on the low side, 37 degrees. Pretty much as soon as it hits ice out, I know technically freezing point's 32, right? We've been on a body of water literally the day after it's iced out, and on bodies of water
I still have ice on them.
they ice out as we're on them. But like 36 and change is, I think, the lowest I've ever seen when it finally opens up. So we'll call it
Usually about there.
37 to 40, because to me, that's by far the hardest freaking window to catch fish in. Well, ice out. I feel like it's easier that we just had more practice fishing those last 3 degrees going to ice in, but ice out. 36 to 40 degrees. What is your cadence and location? 2 and 1.
Quick fun fact though, if you're on a main lake point and it's just after ice out and there's still ice there, a place where I tend to find fish is where the ice ends and the open water begins. I don't know why. Maybe it's just
I've done that too.
Maybe it's just because the light's there and they're all coming out of the shade or whatever.
What the hell is going on?
They're trying to figure out where the roof went. But that's a good place. But Cadence is it's a really tough situation and to dial in because it's always going to change. In these cold waters, I have paused for as long as 20 to 25 seconds. And it is brutal.
I've done it for 2 minutes.
It is very difficult. I can never do 2 minutes.
I've done it. And I caught fish at the end of it too.
It'll vary. I mean, it could be 5 seconds, but it could go up to that 20, 25 second range. I'm really surprised I haven't, I mean, I might, if someone said it in the chat, I haven't seen it. No one's asked about live scope. I personally have not fished with live scope, but I've talked to people that are really good at jerkbait fishing and really good at using this front-facing sonar, and they've told me about times where they were at that kind of 20-25 second count and they could still see the fish there on the screen, to where they would have been like, no, I'm done, I'm going to give it another rip. They waited because they were able to see the fish. So so the advancements of front-facing sonar, I mean, obviously it brings jerkbait fishing to a whole new level. I got a couple friends that got it, so hopefully I'll be able to use it this spring. But for me personally, that 15, maybe 20 at the longest.
That's probably the most comfortable that I can be.
And it's really not that I feel like it needs to be that long. It's that's as long as I can actually wait. I literally get impatient.
I could literally just put the rod down, not touch it for 10 minutes.
I can't do that. I can never do that. I got to do something. And, as the water warms up, obviously the fish are going to get a little more active. You're going to shorten those pauses. You're going to go down to like a 10 count or an 8 count or a 5 count or whatever it is. And the cadence itself in the rips that you're doing, those are going to vary and those are going to change. So I will typically do anywhere from 1 to 4 rips, but I mix it up every time. I'm not going to do 1-2 pause, 1-2 pause, sing the Addams Family song in my head. So you got to mix it up, because that's what makes a jerkbait so special, is that you can get it down above suspended fish, you can keep the bait suspended, and it's erratic, and it does something different every time you move it. So sometimes it's, I'll cast it out there, I'll crank it down, 2 or 3 cranks just to get it down to the depth that I need it. I'll give it 1 rip, and then I'll just wait, and, make sure that you reel in some of your slack, but not all of your slack, because when you rip the rod, especially if you're doing a downward, like snap of the rod or snap of your wrist, you need to rip the rod through the slack line. If there's no slack in your line, you're going to pull the bait, and then the bait's going to swim and do this, and it's not going to have that erratic cut. If there's too much slack, you're going to rip, and you're not going to do anything. So you got to have some slack in the line itself. And more often than not, we talked about it earlier, where the bass won't just come and smash the bait and swim away with it. They might just kind of open their mouth and kind of breathe a little bit, and it sucks in, but then they're still going to sit there. That water's cold. They're lazy. They ain't trying to do a lot of work for food right now. They're just going to sit there, and you won't know that they're there unless you see a slight line jump, or when you go to rip through that slack and you rip.
Shit.
Yep. And it doesn't rip. It just stops when you pull the rod down. And then that's when you just keep leaning on them. And so that, you know,
probably right around now is probably a good anywhere. I'd say anywhere from like 10 to 25 seconds.
Yeah.
And then
it very well
from here on out, if the water keeps progressively getting warmer, I mean, when it progressively gets warmer, you're going to want to shorten that pause.
Yeah.
Until, I mean, midsummer, you could be ripping that thing nonstop, like he said earlier.
Yeah. And when I was talking to one of my friends that was using front-facing sonar, you know, like I said, he was able to see that fish come up to the bait and just pause with it. And he could pause forever and eventually see them kind of turn and swim away, or he could see them react. And what he was able to do is he's able to know the timing, how they react, which, you know, how many pops of the rod they like. And you're able to really, really, really dial it in, you know, at that point. And
Yeah, I'd really
now,
like to
you
see
know,
that.
now, you know, it's rip, pause for 17 seconds, give it one more rip, and you're good to go. You know, and that can make a difference of a great day versus, you know, just a standard good day. So,
That's why I like glides so
do
much.
you have any comments on front-facing sonar?
Yeah, I think a bunch of bitches are making a lot of fucking noise about nothing. Especially shit they don't understand. Much like anything else in any industry. But oh my god, dude, the way people just piss and moan about that, it's like, they're cheating. Like, guys,
You
these
still
people
gotta
like
catch the fish.
well, and you still gotta understand where to utilize it. That's the
Right.
thing that so many people just so conveniently forget, right? Oh, it's so forward-facing sonar, it's cheating. Fuck that. These people have literally decades of experience in those exact conditions to know where to point that thing.
Right.
Which is why you were seeing such incredible success from these guys. It's not that they just slapped on this new technology, went out and started just slapping fish around. It's because for the last 30 fucking years, they understood where to point the damn thing, and now they actually
You're
get
like,
to
man, I
see
really
and
wish
confirm.
I could had something I could point that way and see those fish. Where are they?
Yeah, dude, and like, I mean, it definitely changes the game, absolutely. But then again, it's changing the game for people that already knew what the hell they were doing, and we're already taking all your guys' money to begin with anyway. So maybe shut up. I just, dude, that whole conversation, the way people like keep blowing it up, yeah, it's such a big deal. It's like, no, shut the fuck up, man.
I mean, no, I mean, it's definitely got its pros and it's got the people on the other side of the fence. I mean, I'm all for it. I don't have it. I want it. And
Yeah, I think it'd be sick.
you know, I should put it on the crawdad, huh?
You should.
Do it.
Yeah, that'd
Dude,
be-
please do that.
I don't want to go there yet.
I'll help you.
Our
put it
buddy
on.
Kyle, he's got a beautiful skeeter. And he's got his little John boat he calls Dory, and he's got rigs so he can take when he goes out to spots. He can only take his tin boat. Live scope goes with him.
No,
It's
I mean,
sick.
yeah, I mean, for jerkbait fishing, I think it would help you eliminate dead water a lot faster. But being able to see when the fish are reacting, that's going to help you dial in kind of that pause and, you know, that right cadence. And you'll know if, like, you have the cadence right, you know, being able to see it. But, you know, for us normal folk who don't have it, you know, we just got to go out and do what we think is right. So find those areas where you think the fish are going to be, and you know, just have at it and change it every single cast and change it throughout the cast. So, you know, you don't have to pause 15 to 20 seconds every single time.
No.
You know, give it a couple rips, maybe count it to 15. Next rip, count it to 12 or 9 or 8, whatever you want. Change it up. And like I said, I'll do anywhere from 1 to like 4 rips of the rod at any given time. And you just got to mix it up until you dial it in.
Right.
If you're ever like in ice fishing and you look in your bucket and you see one of your shiners dying, it's like, and then it kind of like swims around a little bit and
Yeah.
it stops. Well, twitch.
Well,
It's just like
That's exactly what a jerkbait is designed to mimic,
Right.
is a dying bait fish.
Yeah.
And that's why they have that erratic action. That's what triggers that reaction strike with the bass. You know, and that's why it's such an effective bait in cold water.
Yep. So I had to walk away to get water. I was dying. Did you guys really did you just stick to the 36 to 40, or do you think you went a little beyond that?
pretty much just that.
Okay, let's bump it up now.
Kind of, yeah.
41 to 45. This, to me, is where the magic really starts to happen. Not that it doesn't happen prior to that, but dude, like really once you get into that low 40s and bump it up towards mid 40s, You can speed up a little bit more, not by much. Most of the time, again, there's no one size fits all answer to all this. It's just why we're breaking it down into such a granular viewpoint as we tackle it bit by bit by bit, and why it's getting its own probably 2+ hour special for the second time, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many details to this. Anyway, that said, 41 to 45. This now I'm starting to get to the point where like I've had a lot of good days with this, and you can start to get a little bit more aggressive because things are starting to be more consistent. Fish are moving up a little bit. They're coming kind of out of those wintering holes and starting to relate more towards that shallower structure, the shallower banks. It's warming up faster. The bait fish are moving up. They know, okay, it's getting kind of close to happy, makey, lovey time. So everybody's getting happier and getting up there. So 41 to 45, how are you changing from everything you were just doing prior to that point?
You want to go first? Or you want me?
I mean, when it starts warming up, and I mean, 9 times out of 10, if you're going fishing and it's freaking cold out and the water is only 40 degrees, you're probably going to try and go out on a sunny day. Just, if you don't, you don't. But I like to work in that area, like in that temperature. I'd like to work where the deep water comes up to the shallow flat, right on that edge, because they're moving up. They're getting ready to move up onto that flat. If that sun pokes out, you better believe they're going to be up on that flat.
So I'll backtrack for a second, real quick. So super cold water and ice out, where you're fishing these bass. In most cases, or where you're looking for these bass. In most cases, if I'm jerkbait fishing, I'm looking for suspended bass off of main lake points, probably. That's going to be your best bet for that, because not every bass just goes to the deep water for the winter and says, peace out, I'll come back out of the mud later. They suspend. And so when I'm in that really, really cold water, I'm throwing a +2. Because I'm trying to find those bass that are, 15 feet down or more. And you'll get a bass. You can fish 25 feet of water or 30 feet of water. If that bass is suspending in 20 feet of water, they'll come up 7 or 8 feet to eat this bait.
I've had them come up further than that.
So in that really, really cold time, I'm throwing a +2. Now, as the water is warming and they're starting to move up onto like these shallow flats, onto these secondary points and other areas, now I'm kind of going to my +1 and my standard 110. So +1 if I think they're a little bit deeper, or if I want to try to dig it down into hard bottom, I'll use the +1. If I'm fishing, less than 10 feet, most times I'm using a standard 110, just in that, 5-6 foot range or 5-6 foot zone. My retrieve is starting to speed up. I'm definitely not doing 15, 20 second pause. I'm probably doing 5, 7, 8 seconds at most. I'm working the bait a little faster, a little more aggressive. That's also the time when I'll go to something like these guys here.
Yeah, Lucky Craft pointers.
And start ripping them really hard, because you could still work one of these baits with a really, really hard rip, and it will dart and stop. And then you wait like 5 seconds, and it'll dart the other way and stop, and it has more presence in the water. So as we're getting into the kind of that high 40s to low 50 range, these types of baits are the ones I'm going to, and speeding up the cadence, the retrieve.
You're a guru.
Yep.
So I'm just I'm an addict.
Yeah, you're right.
So
you don't need help though.
I probably spend, I got one friend that I can talk to about jerkbaits literally 24/7. He's just as sick as me when it comes to this stuff. And I got so hooked into it that's it.
Yep.
So not about
fun.
being a guru. It's about just doing the research and then, really being passionate about it, I guess.
You like my buddy Dennis. Dennis Hart. He runs the Bass and Beers Facebook group page.
Yeah.
He lives for jerkbait, and he's done well. He
posts some pigs. I seen him.
Yeah, he caught
So,
an 8
I see you,
last
Dennis.
year, an 8 the year before, a
Clown.
7,
Got it.
5 something smallie in a pond. I had no idea it ever got that big in there. Like, guy had a phenomenal year last year. And then he killed it again in the fall up on the river, just working jerkbaits in there. Everybody's out deep trying to work those current breaks, and he's up there shallower and just absolutely killing them. I like Colton's question. Who has more 110s, you or Barry?
We actually talked about this last weekend, and we don't have an official count, but it's so similar. It's scary.
I would say, is it too close to you'd actually have to start counting them out?
I'm over 100. And Barry definitely is too.
Holy crap!
So I would say if we're going just 110s, I might have him edged out. If we're going just jerkbaits, he's got me beat by a long shot. So, like, he's got this plus that box plus what I got at home.
Yeah.
So.
You know, I joke around a lot about, like, my love-hate relationship with jerkbaits. I enjoy them when, you know,
when they're
work.
biting.
No, but I have 2 plain old 3700s full of jerkbaits, which I feel like is a lot for a guy that really doesn't fish them that much. And one is dedicated just to my 110s. There's
cool
definitely room to
baits,
fill out. But the other one that I have is full Lucky Crafts, Jackals, some Strike Kings. I got a bunch of custom painted ones from Dragon Custom Tackle that are, 110 knockoffs. And Panda, help me out here. What's the other one that he it's on the tip of my tongue. There's another really good no. There, hang on. You'll probably recognize it, Dave, when I show you.
Yeah. Cam, that's where it all starts. So I hope you like your wallet.
It's a Dual Realist.
Yeah, do
that. See, all I do is look at it. I love that one. That's a great jerkbait too. I don't even think we talked about it. I've got like 5 different variations of red craw patterns I had him do for me last spring because everything was just. This is like my 3rd straight year of working red craw patterns, and I was like, okay, screw it. I was like, John, hook me up. Like, give me the Dual Realist, give me the 110 knockoffs, and just go ham. Just give me a bunch of different red craw patterns.
Like the whole bottom row of his jerkbait box is just fire red. Fire engine red.
Dude, things I learned about what smallmouth do around red in the spring, I was like, I need these. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you right now, we're going up to the New Hampshire Brownie Factory once that water temp gets near 50, and I'm feeling real good about this. I mean, look at that. That's one of 4 that I had done. Sexy. Okay, so we covered everything up to, we'll say, 45 degrees. And now I feel like, essentially we can kind of keep repeating ourselves from 46 up to 60-ish, where it's right about where the spawn starts for all smallmouth. You're just getting faster and faster and faster. Like 50 degrees is really that breaking point where you can start getting aggressive with it.
Yep. And also, when you're at that point where they're like, 1-2 weeks out and from spawn, and when you're finding them in 6 inches of water and everything else, that is where you go with these ones, the larger baits, or you go to the smaller baits. So this works all around the actual spawn, like right up to the spawn, during the spawn, right after the spawn. It's either or. It's go big or go home, go big or go small. And the reason being is that, when they're up in that shallow water, and not for nothing, we'll get to gear, but I always throw most jerkbaits on fluoro. I'll go with a heavier fluoro, or I know Sean likes to go with like a mono or a copoly sometimes, just to keep the bait higher in the column. Well,
only up to the 45 degree mark, and then I go straight fluoro.
But if I'll throw a jerkbait like this at a bass in a foot of water with 20-pound fluoro.
My guy over here, he does the same thing.
I don't care because if I can see a 5 yonder chilling over there in a foot of water, they want a big meal. Mm-hmm. I'm throwing it. So if they eat it, they eat it. If they don't eat it, I get snagged. I break it off. I go home and cry and buy another one. So.
I do the same thing. I throw, if it's right now I'm throwing 10-pound fluoro, straight fluoro. But once that gets up to that, where you're really cracking that thing,
Yeah.
I'll go right up to 15.
Yeah. I won't do it with the juniors, but when I'm doing it with the larger baits, I'll definitely go up in line. Because you're using a lot stiffer rod at that point too, and you're no longer using a jerkbait rod with those, so you're using.
It's almost like a mini swim bait.
Yeah,
You really got to crack these big ones too, like
it's still
hard.
It's hard
Oh,
to
yeah.
find the right rod. You need one that's stout, but you need one that will play it. But you're getting larger hooks, larger wire hook, so less risk of bending out hooks too. So you can get away with throwing it on a regular like medium or medium heavy rod and probably be good. So
There we go.
I'll look for the Nanahan. I don't have
hell is the
John. I
Nanahan?
don't have any of the Nanahans. I really I don't know why. I just didn't buy them when they came out. But I guess if they're that good, I'll just buy some. Call it a day.
So, all right. I mean, at this point now it's 9:50, and one of the big things I still want to talk about, which I don't think will take too long, but is gear. And you touched lightly upon line, so I want to cover it. And Andrew can really elaborate on this too, because he has fished, we'll call it non-traditional setups for his jerkbaits, but they work, so it doesn't matter. But I'm hoping my buddy here, Chad, has been patient with us as we come back to this, because he asked this question an hour and 20 minutes ago. So when talking about gear, we can elaborate on that greatly, but I will start with a very specific question for you on this one. Chad said, I'm a bait caster dude for the most part, but cannot stand jerk baiting with a bait caster as I do not feel comfortable and rather fish them on a spinning outfit. So what is your opinion as a dedicated jerkbait angler? And I'll elaborate in the end of that. Casting versus spinning. I think I already know your answer, but have at it, sir.
I'm an addict.
Hi, my name's David, and I'm an addict.
I literally. All right. So who asked that question?
My buddy Chad.
Chad. All right.
Yeah.
So Chad. I have probably 4 or 5 dedicated jerkbait combos.
Hi, David.
Hi Mike. The majority of them are bait casting, and I have one spinning. I will use both, and they both have their place. So spinning, you can watch all kinds of videos online. You can read stuff, and people talk about the freer motion because of the angle that your wrist is at when you're holding the spinning rod, being that your arm's on top versus underneath with a bait caster. So you have more like free range of motion with your wrist, and it could be, a lot of people say that gives you a better snap, and you're able to get that erratic action out of the bait a lot better. I don't think that's the case. I think if you suck at one, you just need more practice and you got to get better. But
Pretty much.
the spinning rod. So the spinning rod that I have, it's a Megabass Ronin. It's a 6'8", and very short handle on it. So like when you're working the rod, it's not getting caught up in your sleeve or your sweatshirt, your jacket, whatever. Awesome rod for awesome spinning rod for jerk baits. And I use a spinning rod when it's like crazy windy outside. And if I need super, super long casts. So I'm throwing literally like 7 or 8 pound fluorocarbon line on the spinning rod. And if I need to bomb that cast out as far as I can, just to get it down to the right depth or work the bait at a certain strike zone, that's when I'm going to use the spinning rod, because I'm able to get the cast done in the wind. Mm-hmm. Not to say you can't do it with a bait caster, but if you got a 15 to plus mile per hour wind blowing and you're casting into the wind, spinning rod's going to get cast further all day long. Mm-hmm. The casting rods, I have a couple different casting rods. The shortest one I have is a 6'5". The longest one I have is a 6'10" or 6'11". Or actually, I'm going to try the automat too, so maybe 7'1". The big deal with the casting rods is you have a lot of control, in terms of more accurate casting. You can get the right rod if you have it. Of course, he's got his... So, all right, so we'll showcase this. So
Oh, I may have to bring it up here. Hang on.
yeah, go ahead. So
I need like the live feed though, so I can. Come on, mouse. All right,
this is my bread and butter. That's a Megabass P5 110 stick with a JDM Steez CT-SV. It is not a cheap combo by any means, so don't go out and just look it up and order it. But so I don't know. It's a comfort thing. So this entire setup right here that Sean's putting in front of the screen, that whole combo weighs maybe
Yes.
it weighs maybe 9 ounces.
Yeah, it's super light.
So the lightweight is really going to help kind of reduce that fatigue while you're working the bait all day, because you're literally just sitting there, just your wrist is moving up and down. You're going this way, you're going that way, you're doing whatever. And jerkbait fishing can get tiring. You know, a light combo is going to make a difference. That particular rod, it's got the right amount of tip on it. It's short where you can make a long cast still, but you can also make an accurate cast because it's so short. But when you hook up on a fish, the whole rod bends over. It's a very parabolic rod. The biggest pointer, fumble.
I'm having a hard time.
That's why we can't have nice things.
No. Booted my
The
water
biggest
bottle.
thing I'll mention with the gear, line. So, like I said, 7-8 pound line on my spinning. I use 10 or 12 pound line on my bait casting. Back off your drag on both of them. The spinning rod is going to give you a much smoother drag in most cases, unless you go buy, your $700 Steez reels. That the Shimano Aldebarans, I have a couple of those. I have one of those on a 610 X Pride. That's a fantastic jerkbait combo. Aldebaran cast at a mile, drag is super smooth. But backing off that drag is what's going to help you not bend out those hooks. Having the rod that's very parabolic and loads fully is going to help you play those fish back to the boat properly. And if you have the right combination of, the rod working, the drag working, you literally just have to take your time and get them back to the boat. Because when you're fishing and you're, trying to target fish that are 15 feet down and you hook into them, you don't know if it's a 6 pounder or a 1 pounder, in that cold water.
That's from Chad at the very bottom. You said a Steez for jerkbaits? I just got hard.
Why not? Why not?
The man is an addict. What don't you understand about this?
We could do a whole live stream of Dave's basement, and you could see all my rods and reels, and then you guys will know why I don't own a boat. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Loosen that drag.
Yeah, you pretty much want a rod that's gonna, if you think about setting the hook, and you set that hook, you go like that. You don't want this, because these are really sharp hooks, but they're small.
They're light
They could
gauge.
rip right out of the fish or bend out.
Yeah.
You want something like you set that hook to keep pressure on that fish. You want that rod to bend over and actually keep pressure on that fish at all times.
You don't want a crankbait rod. You want a rod that's parabolic like a crankbait rod. You do not want a crankbait rod. And the reason why you do not want a crankbait rod is because when you have a really, really, I have a friend who tried throwing a jerkbait on a fiberglass crankbait rod, and it's not working. The rod's, you're trying to twitch a noodle, basically, is what's happening, and you're not going to get the right action out of the bait. You need a rod that has a fast tip that's, really snappy, one that'll, snap back, or, what's the word I'm looking for? The rod deflection. It'll go back into place really, really quickly. That's what's going to give you the right action out of the bait when you're working it.
You don't want a whip going like this.
Right. But you need a rod that will load properly for when you hook them, because you're working with such fine, light wire treble hooks. So
You hear that, Luz? I'm getting multiple rods tonight.
Me too.
yeah.
We get to go on a shopping spree after the show.
I'm not a super tall guy. I'm 5'10". The 6'5" rod works for me. The 6'8" work. The 6'10s work. When you get into those 7-foot rods, it's a little long for me personally. But really any sort of medium fast rod. I helped a I helped a coworker of mine who's just getting into like really getting into bass fishing. You know, we found he grabbed a 6'8" Bass X rod. It's a medium fast. He brought it in. I looked at it's gonna be a fantastic jerkbait rod. So you can get them on a budget. I have a Zodius 610 medium, $200 rod. You know, then I have my stupid stuff.
My God, that thing is beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice.
Mike, to answer your question about what hooks on the 110s, you missed it earlier, but the Gamakatsu G Finesse size 5. One more time. Gamakatsu G Finesse size 5 hooks for your Vision 110s.
For those of you that don't know, there is a Mega Bass page on Facebook. And this time last year, I posted a dissertation on changing hooks out on 110s. So if you just shoot me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, I'll send you the screenshot of that, you know, so you can see it and read it. It really just breaks down which hooks I change them out to and why I change them out, and including the right size hook for all of the Mega Bass jerkbaits and like what split rings and everything. So it wasn't really a dissertation; it was just a really long post, long enough to get the point across. So.
Don't mind me, my microphone's just about to fall off the table. Yeah. I'm like, every time I moved it, it's...
Really? I cranked that thing down, too.
You cranked it wrong.
You see the mic moving like this.
That's my bad. I swear to God, did I crank that thing down? Where did
I think it just slid off the corner as you were cranking it down.
Whoops. That's my bad.
Yeah. Sorry, Dad. All right, there you go. That's good. I'm watching it. The whole thing's just going like, that would have been fun. Okay, chat. Is there anything else we didn't miss? There's a couple more things I want to discuss before this gets on too longer, but was there any one big thing that we missed? I think we covered everything. And again, leading up to spawn, but that is the whole goal of everything that we do. I want to be able to, I mean, this is a loaded topic. Everything we cover is a loaded topic. So I don't want to be overloaded. I mean, Christ, we talked for 2 hours now about jerkbait fishing and everything that entails just from now, ice out to spawn.
Pretty much.
For 2 hours, we only covered a quarter of the season.
We'll give you another 2 hours when it goes from spawn to
All right. I'll give you guys a hint, too. In September, just rewind this and go the other way.
Yep.
Yeah,
So.
pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. Ounces the Bass Snatcher asked, what's your opinion on the Rapala Shadow Wrap jerkbait?
I think we kind of covered that earlier when we were talking about the budget baits versus the premium baits. You know, it's definitely an awesome jerkbait. I vote yes.
I caught my biggest jerkbait fish on
That Shadow Wrap.
literally this exact bait right here.
It is good, and especially there's something about that feather on the rear treble hook in really cold water, especially for smallmouth. It just kind of helps them commit. I'm saying a lot of that from secondhand knowledge and experience. I myself have not caught enough to be like, yep, okay, I say that because of everything I've done. I've had enough people talk to me about this that, yes, it can be very, very helpful. Oh man, there's a lot of good questions.
My number one color in bait for most consistent 4+ fish is not on this table.
Yeah,
we're gonna leave it at that.
I like it. John did ask
which one it is.
Braid 2 leader or straight fluoro with spinning.
Straight fluoro.
Straight fluoro
All day. 7 or 8 pound.
Here's the thing. So if you're like me and you fish, like all my spinning gear is braid to leader. The first 2 trips we did this season, because I wanted to really commit to that jerkbait, I want to be able to throw it like, where is it? I've got this Lucky Craft Pointer SP90. It's a tiny jerkbait, and I don't really have a casting setup that I feel confident I can throw that in if there's even a tickle of a wind. So I want to throw it on my spinning rod. I got braid. Not a problem. There's enough room left on my rod, on my reel, that I just busted out my spool of 10 pound and I spooled up about 150-ish feet of line. If there's a little bit of overlap where, like, okay, if you bomb 150-foot cast and you look at 100 feet of fluoro, I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
For,
You'll
like,
be fine.
for such a narrow window, like, why don't stress it. Don't worry about it being absolutely perfect per se. As you get into colder water, and I think his eye is twitching right now as I say that, but you can make it work. I mean, ideally, you could always peel back a little bit of that braid and just tie on a super long leader. It works. That's what I was doing. I had, again, about 150 feet of line, and it worked. I was able to use, I actually think I had 4 jerkbaits tied on the first 2 trips, which says a lot about how much I suck because I didn't catch a single fish on them. So I sucked. I didn't suck. Those fish sucked at eating my baits.
Yeah, they kept missing it.
Yeah, I did the braid to leader thing for a majority of my combos for quite a while, and I went back. I'm like 90% a straight fluoro guy right now. I will say when you get to those lighter lines on spinning tackle, it's definitely more manageable. Fluoro can get expensive. Braid to leader does help save on costs, but you don't have to cheap out on line, but you don't have to buy the most crazy expensive line. Like I've run 8-pound Tatsu on a spinning rod for jerkbaits. I think I have Daiwa J Fluoro on that one right now. Seagar and Vizex has been my bread and butter for a long time. 8-pound and Vizex, super easy to manage on a spinning rod. But you can't go that low on a bait caster. So that's another reason why it's good to have both combos. So
yep. Cam Yates asked another great question. When it's early spring and they're a little deeper, does it matter if you cast deep to shallow or shallow to deep? This is something I can answer for once. I do better going shallow to deep, but I've had really good days going the opposite way too. It really depends on how they're relating to the bank. More often than not, shallow to deep is more consistent for me. I've had days where just for shits and giggles, things weren't panning out for the first few hours. Screw it, let's change it up, go the opposite direction. Because I know there's somewhere on that bank they're relating to it. I'm marking them, but only with 2D sonar. And I'll flip the script and I'll go from deep to shallow. And that's worked when it hasn't worked the other way. So again, from my personal experience, more often than not, shallow to deep. If that's not working, but you're marking the fish there, flip it.
I think the general nature of being in a boat, there's that saying like we always fish from the bank and we dream to get a boat so we can get out in the water and cast to the bank or something like that.
I go deep to shallow a lot.
More often than not when we're in a boat, we're running down a bank or whatever, but this time of year, those main lake points are the first place that I'm hitting. And a lot of times, when I'm with whoever I'm fishing with, I'll try to tell them, or hopefully they will just position the boat on that point to where you can go to either side of that point. Or if they're right at the end of that point, we're backing off. So maybe, I guess we're kind of casting towards the shallow end. But when they're 15 plus feet deep, I mean, it's, you just need the bait to get down. That's it.
Yep.
So,
what about you, buddy?
Me?
Yeah. Deep to shallow, shallow to deep.
I'll do whatever.
He just waits for me to move the boat, and he's just like, okay, fuck it.
90% of the time I'm in the back of the boat anyway, so I just make my casts.
Right.
So.
I like to work along the bank. If I'm going to do anything, I'll work along the bank. I'll work out a little deeper, a little shallower, but I like to work along the bank and not out off, like from top to bottom.
I feel like if it was me and Andrew together in a boat, we'd both be standing in the back.
Yeah, hey, man, we had plenty of days where we do that, too.
When did you jerk last?
It's been a while.
He's like, I'm on my lunch break now. Anyway.
It is going to be a long drive home, so we'll see.
What the hell? Give me a call.
So Jesus Christ, derailed. To your point, one of the last things I do want to bring up, we talked about it at the expo, and it feels like we talked about it in the show last week, but we didn't. It was actually something we talked about at the expo, both Friday and Sunday when we were talking about ice out fishing tactics. And to Andrew's point, where early in the spring, they're going to be close to the bank. What are you eating? I heard the bag, but you're being trying to be inconspicuous, but very obviously inconspicuous.
I'm starving.
You're staring at me like,
I'm sorry. I'm like,
again, so personal experience, casting up shallow, working up deep, but boat positioning is very key. Until you can really lock down what depth they're eating at. It's one thing to see where they are, but it's another to finally kind of lock down, okay, what depth are they actually eating at? Andrew was talking about a spot we had Mother's Day last year. We were out place southwestern New Hampshire, deeper water, gin clear, loaded with smelt, yellow perch, and smallmouth. And we were casting not quite parallel to the bank, but almost at like a 70-degree angle. It was damn near parallel. We knew
That's
they
the only
were
cast we
in.
could get with the wind.
Well, no,
But we did
to an
set
extent.
up. We did set up right on that turn, like perfect.
Yeah, and we could kind of see where these fish were located in a rough depth range, but we couldn't really figure out what they wanted. We tried a couple different things. We were throwing 110s and 110+2, so we had a wide range of depth that they would want to eat at. And if you can work it at a semi-sharp angle, right? Like, again, about 70 degrees from parallel. Well, from parallel and then to 70, however you want to say it, just 20 degrees, whatever. You cover a huge range of that depth you want to be at. You cover a tight but very long window of that depth range that you can attack, right? So if you're working a 110, it's going to go down about 6 feet, but you're only at that, 20 or 70 degrees, whichever way you're looking at it, from the bank. You're going to cast up, saying like 10 feet, and you're on a 45-degree angle of a bank. You're going to keep it in 10 feet out to, we'll say, like 16 feet for the vast majority of that retrieve, versus if you're straight perpendicular to the bank, you're going to blast right through that whole depth range. And you're going to hit that range where they want to be happy at, but it's only going to be there for about this long. So, really, 45-degree angle, if you can, is the best, right? And then just kind of adjust from there. As soon as you get that first bite, try and pay attention to how far back did you bring that bait from the boat. And then you can start to kind of change the angle of how far you're going. And eventually you get it locked down. You can straight parallel the bank and bring that bait the whole way through that depth that they're actually eating at. So, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place with that. But
well, no, that goes to what I was saying earlier with the bait is it's designed to be a horizontal presentation. So once it gets down to that depth, it stays at that depth as long as you're working it correctly. So it's exactly what you were just describing. It's use the right bait for the right depth based on the fish that you're targeting. Like Sean was saying, work your angles until you figure out that depth and that pattern, and go from there.
Yeah, I like it.
Pretty much.
I like jerkbaits.
I know.
We can tell. You got a boat payment's worth of jerkbaits here.
Yeah. I also hate money.
It's a perfect combination right there.
So, any parting thoughts from you, Andrew, for anything we didn't cover? Like, just, you could even like a random thought, but something that you feel is important that we didn't get to share.
No.
Dave?
I think we got it covered.
I don't even remember everything that we covered, but it was a lot.
It was a lot. And I think we were very extensive in everything that we did cover. I say we.
Just
I was
paid.
just sitting here with a smile on my face. Actually, I saw myself in the stream quite a bit. It looked like I was just staring out into space, contemplating life like 90%.
I've been
of the
just
time.
like staring at these and listening to him and like trying to think of, and then he says it. I'm like,
I probably should have counted them before I brought them over, because there's probably going to be some missing.
I
but
made
whatever.
sure that I separated my lowly non-1. I got 110 over here, but my lowly non-110s over here outside.
mine.
Yeah, I don't. He's like, I can't close this over my new 110. Like, where's my depths?
We never talked about this, but it's a little late for that now.
That's okay.
So I'll add this in for next week.
Okay.
Okay. So you want?
Not yet. So there's a reason why I didn't bring it up. We were Dave was very, very kind and brought some jerkbaits to donate. However, the problem I have with the way we've been doing the giveaways, like, it's awesome and how we've been making this work, and it helps us raise money for the channel, which, again, literally 100% of every freaking dollar that we've earned through this,
all of it,
has been reinvested. Not into us, into the stream, into you guys. I haven't spent any even on baits or my boat, nothing. Literally everything that you see in front of us has been purchased, even that, because of money that we've made from the channel, from the streams, all 9 yards. Like, I bought that with my last YouTube check.
You guys
I
can't
used
see
almost
what's
all
in
of
front
it.
of us either. It's serious.
He walks in, he's like, holy shit, this is a setup.
I was not prepared for this.
there's a lot.
So what I need to do, and I'm sure there's a solution out there, is I need to make one central location for people to essentially, buy their entries for raffles and stuff like this. But then that way it automatically tallies those people that entered for me. And I don't care. how you enter it, but I need to have one thing that can automatically capture that information for me so that
He's not spending 20 minutes during the stream just like writing down people's names. And
well, and then when we did it with Epic Eric, it was amazing because of how many people got involved. But dude,
yeah.
we had 90 entries, and I had to put everybody into a spreadsheet and randomize them. So I got the total amount, and then when I actually did a random number, it was truly random. It took me 45 minutes,
then we got number 1.
and then we got. I still can't believe that happened. The first time ever, out of any random raffle we've done, that number 1 was pulled. So I need to figure out a better system for that so I can streamline it so that I'm not taking myself away from the stream too much. So we'll get that done. But are you sure?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna leave these here, and so the next stream that Sean ends up doing a raffle, one winner will get. You can do a couple winners.
Yep.
This is a Jackal re-range. It is in the Secret Shad color,
Which is a beautiful color.
Killer smallmouth color. It's a transparent bait, purple back, chartreuse belly, wonderful.
Oh, it's
and then the other smallmouth killer, the GLX Cherry Spawn is what they call it in the Vision 110 Junior +1. So this is your 7-8 foot depth killer jerkbait. So this is for you guys. I'm gonna leave them here for Sean. And
Thanks, sir. Much appreciated.
if he doesn't do a raffle, I'm sure I'll see him tie them on at some point.
No. Those are going.
Those are for you guys. Those are going in the next raffle.
You know what's funny is you already let me buy that one off you.
That's right, I did.
Yeah, because I remember we were talking about it last year, and you were like, "I actually got a couple. If you want to buy one off me," I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, that's right.
And then I remember
I still have a couple.
I stopped at your house on my way home from work, and I told my wife, "Don't worry, I'm only gonna be there for 20 minutes." And I remember looking at my phone, like, "Oh fuck, I've been here 2 hours." Every time.
Yeah. So basically, what you guys see here with all these baits, if it's a color that I like, I have 2 of them in the box. I have a backup at home. I have a backup for the backup, and a backup for that backup. So that's why I said there's a lot more than what's here. So, but.
It's funny because, like, literally everybody else, most people, right? If you have 1, you have none. If you have 2, you have 1. In Dave's case, you're going to triple that. If I have 5, I have 9. But if I have 10, I have 1.
So you pretty much just
Makes
go
sense.
in order for the same one.
Well,
when you buy
at
one.
first I thought Vision 110 mean I needed 10 of each one.
That's what it means.
But
you didn't know that? Well, now you do.
But, yeah. I like jerkbaits.
They're good.
I like jerkbaits.
All right.
Yeah.
It's been a great night, guys. Again, everybody, thank you very much. If you're interested, go ahead and follow David on Instagram. I put the link to his Instagram page up in the chat. It's been pinned there for like the last hour. For us, again, if you guys haven't subscribed yet at this point, please do so. That'd be greatly appreciated. For everybody that's still watching, if you haven't turned on post notifications, please do so. As you know, every social media algorithm is just wonky as shit. So even though you're subscribed and you're always trying to watch for stuff, it doesn't always show up in your feed. So if you just turn post notifications on, never miss anything that we do. You can follow us on all our social. Everything's down there in the video description. Aside from that, for those that shared it, if you didn't do it yet, please drop a like on the stream. Those that went out of the way to share it, we greatly appreciate it. And final reminder, for those that aren't aware, we now offer channel memberships where we will continue to offer things back to those that continue to support us at that next level. That's free gear, free stuff, or, custom stuff that you can use in the chat, like emojis and whatnot. Free private streams that we'll be doing every month when we get people at that tier. Free private calls. I mean, hell, we can even probably do meetings and eventually offer like one-on-one stuff on the water, just outside New Hampshire, because New Hampshire has weird laws. So there's a lot that we have going on. Apparel is coming probably next week. I'm going to have the storefronts done. And then we just got something fucking huge happening in like the next 2 weeks. So everything is good. It's a lot of work, but now that we're past the expos and we're just, man, dude, we're moving forward. And I'm really happy with the way things are happening. Growth has been explosive. We owe that always to you guys, for the community, for doing everything to help us get to where we are and beyond. I'm done. David,
That's it.
Thank you very much again, buddy. Greatly appreciate your time.
I have one final tip. It's going to take 4 seconds. Ooh, yeah. If you guys can see this, I don't know.
It's the coolest freaking thing in the world.
Oh, yeah,
There's an elastic band on these hooks. And what that allows you to do is throw a pile of them in a box and get one bait out of the box at a time instead of pulling every single bait. So I'll show you real quick. I don't know. Can they see this? All right. So hold the middle and the bottom hook. Put the rubber band on the middle hook. Wrap it around the bottom. Catch it on the top. You're done. Now you can throw 15 of these in one slot in a deep box. And when you go to get one, you get one, not all of them.
Literally just pulling these out of the box right now. And they're not.
Okay.
They're just falling out. Oh, okay. Well, that's not a good example. Bam. See?
No. So
It's a good
that's
tip.
it.
I saw that and I was like, what
That's
the
the last
hell?
tip I got for you guys. I got nothing else on jerkbaits.
He has about 1,000 rubber bands in this room right now.
Oh god, that one's in the carpet.
Oh, I think I think I just got hit by a broken rubber band. I felt something go whispering by my arm hair.
Whispering?
Whispering. What's that? The wind.
I had a lot of fun. Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be back to talk
Glad
about something else.
Glad you came over. What do we have?
Next week, okay, so
Can we do this again for frogs?
oops. Yeah.
For frogs? Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes, we absolutely can. A frog show? Yeah, we can do that. I don't know what's on tap for next week. I kind of messed up. Well, yeah, it's not entirely true. Oliver and I from Big Bass Dreams is coming back on. I'm just waiting for him to pick a night. He can be on any of the next 3 weeks. He is coming to the New England Swimbait Expo down in Mass on that Saturday of that weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday, April 9th and 10th, if I can read my whiteboard from here correctly. He will be there on Saturday the 9th. So hopefully you guys will be able to make it out to that. Otherwise, we're going to have him back on to talk more about big baits, and we're going to really focus in on that cold water stuff. We are supposed to have New Hampshire-based swim bait scrutiny back on, but they've got a lot going on with... I don't want to blow anything up on them. It's all good stuff, though. So scheduling may not work out prior to the New England Swimbait Expo, which is what I was trying to time. And then I still have to reach out to Travis at Smallmouth Crush so we can get him on. We can talk about smallmouth tactics from a very, 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 very broad range. So we have a lot going on for the next 3 weeks and beyond. By all means, if you guys have other recommendations or suggestions for people you want to see on the show, and again, topics, which, by the way, is something that we have as a membership offer to like actually really get people involved on the topics aspect, not just like, hey, recommend something, like, hey, get on a call with us. We have a private chat that you can be involved with. Let's talk about this shit. I want to hear from you guys. We got a lot going on. Everything's good. So next week is up in the air. All I know is that at the very least, we'll be here.
We're always here.
We're always here.
Every Wednesday at 8 o'clock.
This has been the longest outro ever. Please, yes, do your thing, and we can call it a night.
Okay. We'll see you guys next weekend. Next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. That's youtube.com/603bass. Have a good night, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.